Purchase your tracks today. On the beat. Purchase your tracks today.
When you look at me, do you have any idea who I am? I'm a woman who refuses to be defined by society's narrow expectations and suffocating stereotypes. I challenge the narratives that dictate everything a woman must. A woman must keep an eye on her biological clock. A woman must make money, but not too much money. A woman must not be too hungry for success. A woman must learn to wait her trust the process, smile, to watch her wait. A woman must defy the odds. A woman must nothing. I am the author of my narrative. I embrace the art of living. I've seized control of my destiny, sculpting a life that echoes my deepest desire. I boldly reject conformity. I don't believe in pressure. I'm not driven by anybody else's ambitions other than my own. My life is already rich, a symphony of abundance and love. Truly, when you look at me, do you have any idea who I am? My success has been meticulously crafted. Every decision I make is intentional. I'm not just great. I am the architect of my destiny, the founder of my fate. To what degree? I decide. I've designed it this way.
the second workshop of She Owns Her. Hey, she was a bit of a tech. I know we could do better. Welcome to She Owns Her. Alrighty, that's the energy that we're keeping here today. And I'm really honored today to be your host once again. Now, for the past 5 years, rather, this movement has been gaining real and increasing momentum. And now we are here. Ladies and gentlemen, season 6. And wait for it, once again, we flipped our M from momentum to a W. I know the ladies are smiling for this one. And now we have Momentum. That deserves a round of applause. Momentum. It's all the ladies clapping real strong. And of course, it's all in honor of Women's Month and continuing our journey under this year's theme of My Success by Design. Now, on Wednesday this week, we had an up-close and personal look at the world that we inhabit within ourselves. More of an interior design of choices, challenges that you and I face on a daily. And in addition to our international keynote speaker, Susie Wolf, there's a bit of a young woo-woo there. She was absolutely amazing. And of course, she was sharing with us her personal journey to success. We had a powerful duo. Sanel and Leonie came through, and we were talking about the real cost of divorce. And of course, that masterclass coming through from Serena Maharaj on healthy independence and how you and I can craft it. Now, it's all there on the Momentum YouTube channel, and you too can check out our hashtag She Owns a Success Resource Center, momentum.co.za. If you haven't yet gotten a chance to engage on Wednesday's workshops, I want to advise you to do so immediately. Or maybe you want to just simply re-energize yourself and go see what the experience was and some of those great insights that were revealed on that day. Don't waste time. Go for it and share it with your friends. All right, are we ready for today? Yeah. Let me hook you up. Today we're exploring things on a more exterior perspective, ourselves in the world, and the brave choices that you and I have to make, and of course the significant challenges that it holds for us to continue in our personal journeys of success with courage and authenticity. I'm excited. Joining us in studio today is somebody that I love so much. She's done incredible work on the landscape of South Africa. It's none other than Sisyoliswa, who is the Director General of the Department of Public Services and Administration. Can we please give her a round of applause? Hello. And of course, to our lucky people who are with us in studio today, I was telling them a little bit earlier on that it's in my studio. Yeah, it's in my studio. They know what that means. And of course, we want to welcome all our online viewers and everybody who's joining us from the watch parties across South Africa for what promises to be an engaging, convention-defying, and a super recharging afternoon. Are we ready for it? Yes. You don't seem too convincing. Are we ready for it? And sharing the screen with us this afternoon is sign language interpreters. Andiswa is in the house as well as Fortune. Please let's give them a round of applause. They've done incredible work and continue to do so. Hey, now for my co-host. The one and only. It's one that many of us know and love. She's an award-winning, multi-talented creative. She's a trans woman as well as an activist and a seasoned brand strategist and a trailblazing entertainment media personality who's shifting boundaries and opening doors through her work ethic, personality, and you'll see in just a little bit the pizzazz. She's called at home Itumeleng, but to us, Kitumi Powerhouse. Hello.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Rory, this is my house.
That's your house and it's my studio.
This is my virtual house. Thank you.
I'm excited about today. If Wednesday's anything to go by, it's going to be an incredible time. A bit of a switch up today. Today's workshop is focused on designing success from outside in.
Absolutely, Rory. We'll also be looking at why and how to delimit ourselves in considering our next life moves in a masterclass with Mpho Sithole. Come on, everybody.
Yeah. Still on some of the incredible guests that we're going to be having today, we're talking about holding hands as brothers and sisters and addressing the powerful truth of professional allyship. And to help us have this conversation, Makintse as well as Nelson are with us today, and they're going to be helping us break it down. I'm excited to hear this one because I know it's a conversation that most of us are going to be nodding through.
Absolutely, Rory. We'll also be examining the old ways and exploring new ways of doing things domestically. This one is interesting, right? To redistribute some of the load with Dr. Baike Dlamini and Samke Mhlongo.
And once again, we've got first-class entertainment. When we announced this on Wednesday, the room shifted. So I have a feeling it's going to shift again today. Loyiso is in studio. We're looking forward to an incredible performance, as per usual, here at home.
Absolutely. And plus, for our online guests, there are some extra fun and a sports survey, a photo op, the fastest fingers competition, and lots of prizes to be won.
And these prizes can't just come and fall on your lap. To stand a chance of winning any of our fabulous prizes, you need to click on the link near the stream window to join in on studio if you have not done so already.
Absolutely, Rory. We want your views, your questions, your comments, your pictures. Do not hold back. The more you engage, the better chances of you winning. Hashtag She Owns Her Success. This is season 6.
And to everyone who's sharing in on experience, wherever you are coming from, thank you so much for exploring today with us. And as we explore what it means and what it takes to define and design your success your way. And first up, we're going to be talking to the Group Chief Marketing Officer at Momentum Group Limited. It's Nontogozo Madonsela. She's going to be joining us. And we know that she is a major driving force behind the She Owns the Success story. We want to find out from her what's success by design. Ladies and gentlemen, help me Lilizela and welcome onto stage Sis Nontogozo. Hello.
Hi, I'm going to give you a hug.
You can.
We have,
Mwaza.
and I have to say, sorry.
Yes.
We love her. We appreciate her. The way she drives the conversation, and with your new partner, you guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you right now.
Yes,
So
thank you. Clap for me.
Yes. Sesibongile.
I need to say
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you.
Wednesday was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You came in here and you took over. It was
Yes, sis.
beautiful because you
Yeah.
got us all thinking. But I know today we're not looking inside out, we're looking outside in.
Yeah.
So what's happening in the world around us?
Yeah.
But before we get there, one thing we always acknowledge here on She Owns a Success is how many days we've lived, because we're grateful for the opportunities that we have, and a brand new day is an opportunity. So how old are you today?
So when I was last with you, I had lived 17,017 days. And Thursday, 18, Friday, 19, today, 20. So 17,020 days. That's how
Sure.
old I am. That's how old I am. And you, Rory?
Let's make it awkward before you come to me. Why don't you expose me? Look at your neighbor and say, how old are you in days? No. Look at you and say, neighbor. Don't you say neighbor.
Neighbor.
How old are you in
How old
days?
are you in days?
Hey, some
In
of you are
days.
21,000, 25.
50,000.
Hey, it's tricky out here. I'm 13,000. The other ones I'm not counting.
Yes, you stopped at 30.
I'll start counting again at 14,000.
Okay.
So I'm
okay.
13.
Yes.
Yeah, let's not add the 1,000.
Don't add the 1,000. But I'm excited to reflect on a few
Yeah.
themes, because at Momentum, with She Owns a Success, we always talk about the work.
Yeah.
There is work we need to do. It was fantastic on Wednesday, to talk about
yeah.
the internal work. And so what I've got today is a reflection on how in my leadership journey I have gotten this far and kind of stayed on the right track, working with an external environments
Yeah.
that are usually not always favorable.
Sure, I love that. We were looking inside, now we are external.
Yeah. So here's principle number 1.
Okay.
Know and talk about your superpowers. We're talking to our brothers later today, who we call brothers in the boardroom. And for one to facilitate for you in business, in entertainment,
Yeah.
in the corporate space, you've got to be able to articulate what is different about you.
Sure.
And you've got to reflect on attributes of your leadership or attributes of your skills. So for me, those are my 4 when people are like, tell us about your leadership style, I'm ready.
Sure.
I'm strategic, I'm collaborative, I am paced, and I am creative.
Sure.
And there is facts to prove that.
Yeah.
But most of us, especially women, we don't know how to encapsulate and capture succinctly what our superpowers are.
Sure.
Okay, so know your superpowers.
What's next?
Yebo. The second one is the world sees me as I see myself.
Sure.
the world sees me, because how I see myself is what I portray to the world.
Yeah.
And so that's where the conversation about purpose tends to come in. And I always say, when people ask you what your purpose is, it's quite an intimidating question. Like, do you phone God and be
Yeah.
like, yo, dude, why was I born?
Download a fast.
Just tell me what happened when these parents conceived me. Why? And for me, the process of getting to my purpose, and my purpose is to be a catalyst for change and growth and total transformation.
Sure.
That's what I do as Nontokozo. How I got to know that is by conversation with my team, by conversation with people around me. And last year, I think somebody said, send a survey. Send a few of your people questions around what they see you give them and what problems they see you solve. And it's important this, because when you are making decisions about jobs to take or jobs to say no to, your purpose has to anchor you.
Sure.
And usually our purpose stops at, I just want to do good for the world.
I want to leave a mark
Yeah.
on the sands.
I want to leave a mark. So the second part is humility, guys. And so we are all raised to be humble, especially in the Black culture. Humility, we are taught. They all, even with my aunts, they love saying, hey, is-alam senkosi asikhulumi. Umntanami akave is-alam ngimthanda kabi, uhlala kahluphi umuntu. But I actually say that's not going to serve her.
Yeah.
It's not going to serve her. And in the context of the boardroom, some of us are given opportunities and we are too grateful and we need little. Do you know when people say, oh, we will contract Nontokozo, she needs very little? Do you know what tends to happen? She needs very little, this one. She will be happy with flowers. If we send her 500 Rand voucher and a kosinyana, she'll be happy. And so, yes, be grateful, but don't stop talking about your pursuit for more.
Yeah.
Because what you will find is when opportunities are being allocated in the boardroom, you can clap.
Yeah, no, that's
I got a clap.
you got lots you haven't been here
So here's the thing. Here, when you are negotiating or you are putting forward what programs you want to be a part of at work, a lot of us are like, I'll just be grateful if I had a half-a-day course. And so you will be known as a person who is grateful for the little. And so, even in raising children, the kid that is most vocal, the kid that demands a lot is the kid that gets the most.
Absolutely.
In any family, you will find that. And then a friend of mine was like, she was left alone because she was less needy and trouble-free. She did her homework, she got good marks. And as a consequence, sometimes the family won't know if she wasn't home because there were so many of them in the house.
Sure.
So you get forgotten and you get missing.
Yeah.
The last, or the second last, is all contracts have an exit clause. Okay.
Hallelujah.
A lot of conversations are happening where people are like, yeah, they are not treating me right, but I must stay. Yo, but I just bought this car, but I don't like it. I shouldn't have bought it. Here's the thing. All contracts have an exit clause.
Sure.
All of them, including marriage, which we talked about last week.
Yeah.
The only thing you can't really get out of is your life, but
your
also
children.
your children, because you decided to bring them. You can't, but let's not allow fear, because a lot of women will come and say, yo, I'm being this and I'm treated that and the place is toxic and my boss is vilifying me, I'm being left out, excluded. Well, look at yourself and understand your contract has an exit clause.
Sure.
Okay.
It's time.
So be aware that our fear locks us in, not the contract.
Sure.
Okay. And then, this is my favorite one. I'm getting paid, guys, with this one. I need everybody to remember. If you remember nothing, this one you must remember.
I think all of them hurt our feelings.
So here is the thing. From a young age, when you are 13, you get your account, your bank account. When you are 21, you get your bank account. When you graduate, they give you the black card.
Yeah.
And they give you a car loan that you are not prepared for, yeah?
Yes.
So our relationships with bankers are established early on in our careers. But just like in the medical profession, your banker is your GP. You can't go to your GP and say, extract my tooth.
Sure.
You can't go to your GP and say, check my heart necessarily and give me a heart operation. You can't, because the GP doesn't have that skill to diagnose. So you need, like with medical practice, you need your financial advisor. And here's the thing. You need to know your habits. Some of us have got lifestyles that really need to be looked at. Your banker is going to look at your bank balance and sell you a product. Your financial advisor, however, from anywhere, is going to go deeper in your future plans, deeper in your health condition, deeper in your habits, deeper in your family structure, deeper in everything.
Sure.
So when you are really needing to get your money game right, before you get a lawyer, get a financial advisor.
Yeah.
Have your banker, but have a financial advisor as well.
Sure.
And I think we tend to overlook that many of us don't have people we can phone if we are needing financial guidance that has depth versus superficial.
Sure.
And not all bankers are superficial, but in general, the one is a GP and the other is a specialist.
Sure.
So let's have that appreciation. Yeah?
I just want to show with the room. How many of us have GPs? That's
Yeah,
the
all
whole
of us
room?
have a GP.
All of us. How many of us have specialists?
What is it
We're in the right place. If
Yeah.
you didn't pick up your hand on that last one, it's a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, over the 2 workshops have been speaking about just being aware of
Yeah.
ourselves internally,
Yeah.
externally, and oftentimes we tend to focus on the present.
Yeah.
But the future holds
Yeah.
quite a big bulk of the decisions we make today.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what we were sharing with everybody today.
Yo, guys, can we end the cycle of people not having updated wills? Can we end it? So to end it, as we go, I need the phone to also on the screen.
Everybody grab your cell
Scan
phone.
this. The will we will give you is for free. Get your will done. For free, this one. Tell them Nontogozo said it was for free.
Yeah.
And we need the guys at home to scan as well. A lot of people are leaving their matters to the state. And it takes years for your family to get these issues resolved.
Sure.
And we don't want that.
If they ever
If you
get
are married, you don't want to leave your partner in there. You don't want to leave your children. You don't leave even your mom. Like, I've got my will because we even said to the team, it's the best love letter and the ultimate love letter you can give to your family.
Sure.
The will. Because things go wrong and go wrong fast.
Yeah.
So everybody has scanned.
Do we
You've
have
got
this?
your free will?
There, one more
please?
time, one person there.
Okay.
Free
You
will.
have to have this done. And
All right.
it's going to cost you nothing.
But we have
Okay.
another one.
Another one. Last week, this one was loved. So here's the thing. If you know the statistics that say 6% of South Africans can retire, GOG, and of the 6% that can retire, even a lesser percentage can live the life we are living now.
Sure.
You see this nail polish here? When I'm retiring, I might not even afford this pedicure if I don't have the right provisions. So whatever we are putting away towards our retirement, the cost of things is changing.
Sure.
And if you are the lover of the Range Rover we are driving today or the Audi, that is going to be maintenance. So get your matters in retirement assessed and evaluated again for free. This one, I'm giving another one for free. If you have a pay slip or you earn a salary and you are thinking about comfortable living and you are thinking about financial security, it's not going to happen if you're not retirement ready. Your kids will be coming to Momentum to ask why we left you alone because we should have helped you.
Yeah.
So let's get that done.
All right.
Yeah.
Any retirement quickly? The QR code is still
QR
there. Did
code.
you get it?
Evaluation of retirement benefits at no cost. Get a second and third opinion. Like you do with your medical matters, you need to get a second and third opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I feel like right now? Like I got into like a coffee date with my big sister, Andreza Tabatsaka from... Do you know that feeling when you're like, I know this person loves me, but like you came for my edges. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Can we love on her? Absolutely beautiful, Sis Nontu. You can head over there. We love you.
We love you.
Woo.
We love you.
She came for us, didn't she? All right. I've got a quick question that I need to ask everybody right now online and for you who are here in the room. What would you say to your future self now that you are retirement ready and all those things? Hopefully. What would you say to your future self? I want to find out. Dumi, what's everybody thinking and saying there? Do they feel like their edges were pulled like mine are?
They just saying, yeah, gotta leave, exit. And I think for me, what I would say to my future self are 2 things. Number 1, whatever will happen for you is still going to happen for you even if you rest. And the second one is you cannot compete with destiny. There are amazing comments here online.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a party where I'm at. So you can be wherever you are, but where I'm at, no. It's hashtag She Owns Her Success Season 6 party. So I've got a question here, and the first one is from Mpo Muliufi. Mpo has been here even the other day. So Mpo says, how can I transition from being content with little to asking for more without coming across as demanding? Iba demandi, man. Why don't you be demanding, Mpo? And I think the other one is a comment rather that says that this person says, well, they actually wrote everything that Nonto spoke about. So I think let's go back into the studio so that you ask the people in the studio, because here it's a very big party.
It definitely is. It definitely is a party. We love hearing your comments. Make sure that you are sending them through. We're going to be giving you many pieces of information. So make sure you're packaging it well and you're communicating to us. In the room, what would you say to your younger self? Just take a second to think about that. Your future self. What would you say to your future self? Do you have the answer? Can I have a brave hand? A brave hand. There at the back. Yeah, it's the... There you go. You have a mic. Share it with us in the room.
Okay. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hello.
My name is Katleho.
Hi, Katleho.
Rorisang, you speak so well. You're an amazing communicator.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the one thing I would say to my younger self so that I could be a better version of myself in the future is that you're not going to get it if you don't ask for it. I think I've limited myself so many times because, as Nonto said, you tell yourself that you need to be humble. You need to be the person that is sitting in the background. Although I am a loud person, I'm very extroverted. When it comes to my job, when it comes to work, when it comes to opportunities, I always bury myself. But now I'm going to uncover myself and I'm going to ask.
Own that success, mama. Come on, we're talking to our future self. I can see people in the room. Anything you would say to your future self? I see you in the corner there. Please stand up, tell us who you are, and share your bit.
Oh God, I am.
You're okay.
There's a lot of people here.
Look at me, yes.
I think what I would say to my future self is I'm proud of you.
Oh.
You're doing well. You have come a long way.
Sure.
Stop beating yourself up. Take care of yourself.
Sure.
Look after yourself. And well done for how far you've come.
Sure. Babes, kick into the lash. Don't do that so early. Hey, this glue is not stuck on two. You understand? I've got one more right at the back. Hello, my love. In your orange. Stand up, Rebona outfit, you love. Oh, cute for Emma, when my love.
I don't want to.
Yes, girl.
Okay, hi.
Hello.
Hey, so my name is Nomathemba. Mine is very simple, very quick. Is to my future self, don't be afraid of financial conversations. Yeah.
And I guess your future self will thank you for sitting in this room because it feels like you're well on your way there. It definitely is one of those conversations or questions we must ask ourselves honestly. Oftentimes we run away from those kind of questions because you don't want to think about it right now. You want to deal with it. I'll cross that bridge. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. No, prepare to walk across that bridge so that you can walk well. I hope you've got your answers. And of course, online there, keep them coming. All right, art can be argued is the most intense form of individualism. And when we speak of individualism, yes, we're talking about independence and self-reliance, but it goes a little further than that. It goes into the space of true value of uniqueness and authentic identity and freedom of speech and choice. It's the opposite of being put in a box that wasn't made to your specifications or merely being on the conveyor belt of items churning out into the masses and onto the socio-economic factory floors. No one gets to tell you what you should do with yourself. No one gets to tell you to settle with what you have. It's your personal and financial success journey, no one else's. You're the one, my sister, today, building your empire. With your own hands, you're doing it, and you've got to do it your way. It takes courage to consider new possibilities, and perhaps even a new career while you're succeeding at the very one you have right now. It takes imagination to chase new dreams and to think about what's next. And joining us next is MomentumZA, and she's our first masterclass this morning, and she's going to be talking about living outside of the box. Help me welcome MomentumZA on stage. Mpo is widely recognized as an SABC news anchor, but her achievements extend far beyond journalism. Her entrepreneurial journey highlights the commitment of breaking boundaries and redefining success, wait for it, on her own terms. Now, her story exemplifies how one can thrive both personally and financially by pursuing diverse passions. Without any waste of time, let's give it up for Mpo. Hi, girl.
Thank you so much, Rory. Very good afternoon to you ladies and some gents. It's an absolute honor for me to be standing on the stage. I mean, there's one gent. The one gent. Good afternoon. This is a bit of an awkward one for me. I am so used to talking about other people. I'm not gossiping. I'm just talking about other people's lives, other people's business dynamics, other people's political affiliations. I mean, take what happened on Thursday, midday, 12 o'clock, EFF Deputy President Floyd Shivambu announces his resignation from the party. Why? What happened between him and Julius Malema? Was it a fallout? Is it a facade? Why was he so cordial? Why so polite? What happened? What is the story underneath the story? But unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, I'm here to talk about myself, which is something I don't do often, or maybe hardly ever. I am here to present. I am more than your projections. Really just talking about the fullness of one's reality, and just talking about snatching your destiny, and really introspecting to try and find out who exactly I am. So as I talk about it, I am a news anchor by profession. I've worked in television, I've worked in radio, I've done print work. I've always been fascinated by television and the three mediums of communication: radio, TV, print. In fact, I used to collect glossy cover magazines. My mom worked in advertising, so she got them for free. All the glossies you can think of. I used to stack them up and collect them. And it was my vision board that I started creating from cutting up pieces of those magazines. I lived in a household with very finicky parents. You couldn't stick not even one thing, not even a poster of the hottest guy at the time, who I think was Tyrese because of that six-pack. You weren't allowed to stick anything on the walls. They were so finicky about it. So they gave us the space behind the door. Top to bottom, I stuck everything I ever wanted to achieve in my life. From the time that I was 13, 14, 15, up until 18 in matric. I had YFM, which is actually on the slides here. I had, SABC. I wanted to be on billboards, which I managed to do as a young model. And then I got to a point where I was asked, okay, are you a model or are you a journalist? I'll never forget this very tough conversation when I had to really find an answer, give an answer. Am I going to pursue a career as a model? I mean, 5 kids later, 3 which I've birthed, It was a turning point. It was a turning point where I had to decide at that point whether I was going to pursue this career that I was passionate about and hopefully at some point in my life go back to the modeling. So I chose journalism and I worked at Power FM, SAFM, Metro FM. I started at 702 and I really enjoyed a successful and exciting, adrenaline-packed career. I mean, I still do. News is so impactful. It has such a big influence in people's lives. It shapes public opinion. It's a dynamic work environment. It also turned me into a coffee snob, which is a story for another day, really. I mean, I don't know why I drink so much coffee, but it talks to the environment in the newsroom. Everything is real. We're dealing with real lives. We are giving voices to the voiceless. We are driving conversations. We are educating and informing. And we're also trying to engage in an exciting way to get people to take interest in the world around them. And of course, it's a job that comes with a lot of skills development. You learn critical thinking because no story is ever the same. And the ability to be able to inform and educate is one that is so honorable to really be part of your lounges. I mean, I bump into people who start up a conversation, just an ordinary conversation, say, yeah, hi, Mpho. And I'm just like, where have we met? And then you realize that because I'm in your lounges, in your bedrooms, at odd times of the night now, we have a relationship. And it's one that is so engaging and rewarding. So I've really come to perhaps be defined as a journalist. Mpho, the news girl, the one with the hair. But then it gets you thinking that roles do change. And life is a journey, and the joy is in the journey, irrespective of what happens. So having started working in the newsrooms from around 21 up until now, I'm still in my 20s, wink, wink, and unfortunately having to be forced to now shift, transforming personal tragedy into triumph. So in 2019, I will say to you before I carry on that I am more than your projections, much more. And so are you. You are more than your projections to me too. In 2019, I lost my 31-year-old sister to colon cancer. Didn't make sense. How does a 31-year-old die of colon cancer? No correlation, no chronic illness, healthy. She worked in film and television. She had it going. She achieved so much at that age that even I look at her and think, wow, you were ready to go from the word go. And it got me questioning so much about health. She ate well. In fact, she was one of the first people when we were in high school, used to go to a health shop in Balfour Park, and she'd buy a sachet of rice milk powder. I was like, what is that? Why are you drinking rice milk powder? Because she was lactose intolerant. And she had begun to understand the rhythm of her body, but of course it wasn't enough. So losing my sister to colon cancer got me questioning so much about our food system. It was easy to go to the hospital because it took 5 weeks. It really took 5 weeks, counting from the day she went into hospital when the GP said, you've got gastro issue or gallstones. And she went and got checked for gallstones, and there was nothing there. I think at some point they said it was an ectopic pregnancy, and there was nothing there. Up until the last minute, some genius doctor thought to do a colonoscopy. Okay. Colonoscopy. It's about the rhythm, but I'll get to it when I remember. So putting the cameras inside really just to get a sense of what had happened. And what was discovered is that she had lesions that had spread onto her kidney, her liver, and there was no turning back. But how did it happen so quickly? What were the influential factors? And that question bugged me. It bugged me so much that it became my superpower. We were devastated. I was absolutely gutted. My parents and my one sibling, who's now 30, turning 31, and now, that age is so sensitive in the family. When you think of turning 31, are you still going to be here to make it? but I explained to you that I'm in my 20s, wink, wink. So having understood that, I started researching so obsessively about gut health. The large intestine, what is a microbiome? What are the pH levels in the gut? And what are the beneficial ways to improve one's gut health? I started this company called Pure Folk Fermented Foods. It wasn't a company at first. I mean, I was researching, I was collecting, I was fermenting and understanding the science of fermentation. Started with kombucha, which has a SCOBY, which is the symbiotic culture of yeast. And it's really just the culture that grows the good bacteria. And learning how to make kombucha, before I knew it, I was making a ginger bug, and I was brewing. My kitchen was full of things that give people the creeps. I mean, people would come to my house, what is this stuff? I mean, what is it? And that's where it all started. I was not, by any chance, going to let my sister's death define my life in a negative way. She had such an impactful way of living. She was only 31. She'd achieved so much in her life. She was such a introspecting human being. She was so philosophical. She was spiritual. She was grounded. How then do I get left behind and grieve for her up until I end up in a psychiatric ward of some sort? I decided to turn my pain into power. And that's when I came up with this brand. And the problem really stemmed from digestive problems. There was clearly an underlying symptom of digestive issues with my sister. And with the rise of chronic diseases, we have no idea what we're eating. You can buy spinach, a bunch of spinach at the shop. You don't know how much pesticides were on the spinach. There's a lot of pressure in the retail chain. Sometimes the spraying happens just before delivery, which is not allowed. Who is monitoring and testing how much is in our food? And of course, your body can't absorb all the nutrients. That's why when you take vitamin C, for instance, you're told to take vitamin B, so vitamin C can absorb better because of vitamin D, and vitamin D up to Z. And it's quite telling. Why? Why do you need to put on so much of a show to absorb the nutrients that your body essentially needs? So the monotonous diets that we eat with highly processed foods, that in itself is a problem. We're taking so many shortcuts. My grandmother, who was a Tsonga woman from Bushbuck Ridge who moved to Alexandra Township in the 80s, she never changed her diet. She's not the type of granny you'd see eating magwenya and acha and polony. She took her chickens with her. She grew her own spinach. She ate her mapani worms. She snacked on her nuts. She would bash them and grind them as we were talking while we visited her. And she knew that she was lactose intolerant, gluten intolerant, although she didn't have the vocabulary to express it. But she knew, she listened to her gut. So as a result, I learned that probiotics found in fermented foods are highly beneficial, highly beneficial. They are beneficial bacteria which are easy to absorb in the body. They support and restore your gut health. They break down all the nutrients in your body. And of course, we're saving the planet. We're extending the shelf life of perishable foods by the art of fermentation. And we're also supporting farmers, local agriculture. There are so many exciting women entering the agriculture space and doing such phenomenal work that I'm happy to be part of the value chain. And of course, the impact of food waste, so much gets thrown away. And through the art of fermentation, we're able to stop that full cabbage from going into the rubbish bin. And once we're done with the scraps, once we've made these incredible products, the scraps go into my vermicomposting heap, where I have earthworms, breaking down all the waste into the most beautiful compost you've ever seen. I think it's called black gold because the plants can absorb the nutrients, and those nutrients become beneficial to our overall health. So once you plant your cabbage again, once you plant the kale, it's beneficial. It's just a beautiful cycle that essentially adds to the value of the gut. And with the tragedy, which really was a huge turning point, massive turning point. My sister and I were so close. We had such an incredible relationship. In fact, after her passing, I said to myself, I should never ever be so close to anyone. It's unhealthy. Because the bond felt so intense. It was almost like I'd lost a limb. But I was not going to let that break me. She had 2 kids that she left behind. I have 3 of my own. I took the kids in, and we were going to be one happy family like my sister had envisioned. We wanted to raise our children in the same way, not Vienna's and polony sandwiches, but try and add nutrients. I know I get a lot of flack for talking about processed foods like this. I can't help it. My children don't take juice to school. They make their own kombucha, or they take water bottles. End of story. There's nothing in between. Why should we be drinking anything else that we know nothing of? Who made it? Who made Oros? We've had Oros. I hope my gut has flushed the Oros out. But just really understanding where your food comes from is something I've become very passionate about. Asking the hard questions and really just examining what I eat. It's important. It's important because I lost my sister, and the reasons are not clear now, but with more research, I get to understand why. Even though she knew she was lactose and gluten intolerant, but there were foods that she was eating not knowing what is in them. So as the business started gaining momentum, started up a little shop at the Prison Break Market, going to all the other shows and trying to put this product forward. Incredible product range. We have beet kvass. Beet kvass, which is a good source of iron, tackles chronic fatigue, regulates intestinal flora, balances the pH levels in your gut. It's in fact excellent for any of the IBS symptoms, irritable bowel syndrome, bloating, constipation, you take a shot of it. And the others, kimchi is also amazing, sauerkraut is amazing. They're all fermented vegetables which benefit our gut health. In fact, fermenting is not new to Africans. My mom, ke Motswana, and a lot of the Tswana girls have these tiny, cute waists. And it really boils down to how yamabele is fermented and how your body is automatically able to absorb the nutrients out of the fermentation process, which is a probiotic. It's a superfood. So there's so much that you get to learn about your body once you start incorporating fermented foods. And so with the story, growing the brand, venturing out into entrepreneurship, and really honing all the skills I've ever learned. Nothing is ever a waste. You can be a doctor of 20 years and then decide to start up a farm. The experience from the first phase of your life will always interlink like a beautiful thread into the second or the third or the fifth. And that's essentially what I've done. I have taken this brand and made it a part of my life. All the skills that I've learned in journalism, I incorporate into building this brand. So much so that in June, Pure Folk Fermented Foods won first prize out of 180 applicants at the Food Lovers Seeds of Change program. So we'll be out at 200 stores nationwide. And when I got this prize, my heart was shattered, really. It was bittersweet because I thought to myself, had my sister been alive, what would have happened? She's passed on, but we're building a legacy. We're building a legacy so that she can look down at us and be proud. She was very motivated. She was a driving force. She was a powerhouse. How dare I be left behind to grieve and suffer all sorts of ailments like depression, which was kind of a thin line, if I think back. Very, very thin line. I had to make a decision, and my decision was to turn my pain into a successful story, was to take all the battered feelings that I had and own my success, own her success. She did incredibly well. I'm not going to sit around and grieve, because sometimes I'd hear her saying to me, and every time I say this, my other sister's like, oh, please don't freak them out. Don't freak people out. But you sort of hear this voice that encourages you to keep going. And I think, what if she was here? She'd be like, dude, get over it. Get over it. So, I mean, I know I say it like this, and it's taken me 5 years to be able to stand up and speak of her without breaking down. But her death inspired me. There was no way I was ever going to let her story die, because then I would die. So, winning this incredible award and others that are to come, and spreading the message of this food movement, this great food movement where we change the narrative. We go back to our roots of eating clean food. We start those vegetable patches. There are so many ways to do it. There's permaculture planting, which means you take a few herbs and mix them up with others. Like you plant basil with tomatoes to frighten off the other little bugs that could eat away at your kale. So it's a way that we have been doing as human beings decades ago, and it's time to think about what we're eating. Think about the kale that you're buying. Where does it come from? Read the label on the pre-packaged food. Where does that come from? Who made it? What's in it? Are there preservatives? By the way, I must tell you, my products have no preservatives. They are naturally fermented, packed with probiotics and good beneficial bacteria. What more do you need? It's food. It's clean food. So starting this food movement has really been a healing project for me, and it's also encouraged me to want to have the generations that come after me to think of what you eat. So I am more than your projection. I'm an entrepreneur. I am a broadcast journalist. I'm a mother of 5. I'm a wife. I've been married to my husband 20 years, I think. Although I am still in my 20s. So, thank you so much for listening. The starting point of discovering who you are, your gifts, your talents, your dreams, is being comfortable with yourself. Spend time alone, which is what I did. When my sister passed away, I took moments to walk and introspect and read, and I spent time on my own, trying to listen to my inner direction, my inner voice. Whether you call it God, whether you call it your ancestors or direction, there's always an inner peace that guides you. Listen, spend time alone, and write in a journal, take long walks in the woods. And that was essentially the pattern of my healing. I was not comfortable to see a psychologist because I thought, I'm practical. Sometimes it's not always good, but I am comfortable with myself. And I thought, if I had to go to a counselor, will my sister come back? Because that's all I want. No. Everybody has a different healing pattern. I understood mine was to spend time on my own, introspect, and find the superpower within me. Moving to the beat of my own drum. So I'm more than your projections. In asserting my identity, often, of course, coming at a price, which forced me to be conscious and self-aware. moving to the beat of my own drum, identifying my passions, and discovering what excites and motivates me. You should see me fermenting. I am in full food safety gear, which I recently qualified as, food safety health, which is the space that I'm slowly moving into. And of course, it takes a sense of adaptability, learning, evolving, growing, and staying true to my core. I'm happy to be me. Fermented foods are not on every shelf. And I like being different. It's always been my thing. I didn't want to look like anyone else. I didn't want to talk like anyone else. I didn't want to walk like anyone else. I just wanted to be me. And navigating life's challenges with a sense of purpose and authenticity. There's nothing wrong. I remember, in fact, as I talk about being me, my one late sibling and my other sibling are very fair in complexion. My mom's fair in complexion, shortish. My dad's tall and dark. And I said to my dad once, Dad, why am I so dark? What is wrong with me? And he said, what is wrong with you? What do you mean, what is wrong with you? You are who you are. And that's enough. So that, coming from a man, coming from my dad, was very powerful. He affirmed who I am. And I was comfortable in my own skin. And happy to just be myself. Happy to discover myself. When people say the joy is in the journey, nobody really, it's almost blurred lines. The joy is in the journey through the good and the bad. The worst tragedy, the worst devastation, there may lie an opportunity. An opportunity to learn, to grow, to empower, to do research, and to find the superpower within. The kids watch cartoons all the time. There's heroes, there's Ninja Turtles, there's whoever else. And out of the superheroes lies a message. And each one of us has a superhero within. It's just to unmask the superhero, accept the superhero, and embrace the superhero. So thank you so much for listening. I am more than your projections.
Give it up for Mpo one more time. Come join us.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think I'm part of the other half of the family, short and light. Thank you so much for sharing your life with us. I think one of the things we take lightly is sharing a bit about ourselves.
Yeah.
And the things that hurt the most, I can imagine for you standing up in a room talking about losing your sister couldn't have been easy. But I guess that's the truth about living out of the box, right? Is that oftentimes we get thrown out, whether we like it or not. And we've got to kind of figure out our feet. Talk to me about the concept of living outside the box and finding yourself in your feet.
I think, firstly, self-acceptance is so important. Just looking in the mirror and just being happy with who the person is that reflects back.
Yeah.
Because, we were talking in the makeup room about different types of body types. Someone saying, I wish I was thinner. Someone's like, oh no, wouldn't it be wonderful if I put on a bit of weight? Like, we're just never happy. What is the balance? I want to be light-skinned like you. You want to be tall like me.
Yeah.
So looking in the mirror and being happy with who is reflecting back is the first point. Just accepting that this is me, this is how I was designed.
Yeah.
And embrace that person.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess if you've accepted that person, no matter where they land up, they'll find their feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to find out from our audience if we've got any questions. I know we've got some online on standby. Do we have any questions on the floor? Yes, we've got a question over here. Pass down the mic. Oh, look at you working together. Love it, ladies.
Hi, Mpo. My name is Qebile. I want to know how you have walked with your sister's grief and how you feel her add to your journey on a daily basis.
Oh, thank you. When I talk about being a practical person, I mean, yes, every now and then my head's lost in the clouds and I think I can do 8 careers in one go.
Of course.
And like become a gymnast, a Pilates instructor, yoga master, businesswoman, news anchor. Mother of 5. I think what I had to, I'm really good at counseling myself. I don't know if it's the influence I had, my parents, and how my dad is so practical. He's just like, yeah, let it pass. So it may sound harsh, but I learned to think like that, to acknowledge that, yes, I have lost my sister. She was so young. She was only 31. Her life was really on an upward trajectory. And she had an amazing husband, beautiful house. She was a whole, full spiritual being. And I learned to accept that and take from it. Take from the fact that she lived her life. It's unfortunate. It was cut short. It hurt so much that I didn't want to hurt too much. I wanted to take what I could from the tragedy, take out of the pain. It's twofold. You have a choice to make. You either go down or you go up. And I was not willing to go down. In fact, I remember my father saying to me, because every now and then I'd talk about her, and sometimes I'd laugh and be like, she said something and it was so funny. And my dad's like, you must watch yourself. Because from what it sounds like, you sound like you're going in a different direction. And that wake-up call also got me thinking. I learned to appreciate her. I learned to acknowledge her presence and the influence, the amazing influence she had on my life, that it took me through the grieving process. There were times when I'd get into the car and I would scream, or I'd see a car that looks like hers, or I'd hear a song we used to dance to, and I would be gutted, devastated. But I could hear her saying, dude, come on, get over it. So it's the kind of relationship we had that I think it made it easier for me to hear direction from her. And it just helped with my healing process. And I looked at the 2 children that she left behind. If I'm a mess, what happens to them? So you put your big girl panties on. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We speak about grief, and I think everybody in the room can relate. At some point in our lives, we've lost somebody that's really mattered to us, and we're never prepared for it. How do you turn pain into power or passion?
It's almost like being married to my husband of
20 years.
Of 20 years. Even though
And
I'm
you 20.
Yes, thank you. I am 20.
Love it.
It's a roller coaster. I mean, we started off, you're 18, you're young. What a cool guy. He's so handsome. He's so tall. He's so handsome. And life happens. So much happens. Financial losses, career changes. It's a journey. You have 1 child, then you have 2. I mean, the story about my middle child and my last born, they're a year apart.
Sure.
I mean, it's quite tricky. When people are like, weren't you pregnant last year? I was like, but so much happens that you end up losing. You sometimes forget why you were even together to begin with. And there's a graph that I like to do where I put good and I put bad. What are the good parts of this person? Loving, kind, supportive, blah-de-da, blah-blah. And then you look at the bad and you put down the points. Maybe attitude problem, like I don't like his mood swings sometimes. So you learn to look at the good and the bad. And I chose to look at the good. I chose to look at the good side of this special bond that I had with my sister. And the cool times, my sister and I, Rory, I must tell you, we thought we were the business, like the coolest people ever.
As you should.
So in thinking that we're so cool and we have these ideas and we had these business ideas, I thought, I can't drop the ball. Just because you're not here, it doesn't mean I'm not going to fulfill what you and I agreed to. We had an agreement. We were going to build businesses, we were going to build an empire. The business stream was not food related, but we had an agreement. We were going to build an empire. And we'd always say, it's the only way. In fact, behind her door at my parents' house, you can still see ellipsis dots is the only way. It's the only solution.
It's power,
to
right?
stick to the vision.
Sure.
The vision was to take these kids to good schools. The vision was to live a healthy life, build a business that would become an empire, and not have to rely on anyone.
Power is the only way.
I'm left here on my own.
Yeah. We absolutely love it. Dumi, I know you've got some questions there online.
Absolutely, Rory. Mpo, I just want to say I want to start going to Pilates because I want to look 20 forever. Most of the time when we do things, and, I was listening to how so well-versed you are in terms of the things that you do in terms of your business. And we're talking designing success by your own self and designing it in your own way. And I just want to find out, you know so much, right, about what you do. How important is research in the things that you do when you design success in your way?
Sure, thank you so much. Research is the foundation. It's like driving a car without doing the test. I mean, you'll crash into a few people.
K53.
Yeah. And I think as a journalist, I have mastered, perhaps it's an addiction, where you over-research. It's actually quite frightening, I must admit, where you are Googling articles, where you're looking at you look at people, scholars, what scholars have written, and you go into that. I mean, there's a guy called Dr. Tim Spector. He's a scientist who's been researching twins, for instance, for, I think, 20 or 30 odd years. And he's been researching twins to find out if the gut microbiome is the same. I mean, they come from the same womb. Surely the gut should be the same. And he's come up with such incredible research which shows that it's not the same.
Sure.
We may be twins, but our skin will be different from what the other, and our lifestyles may be exactly the same, but the gut microbiome is different. So researching is so important because that's where you become a superpower. By doing your homework. You have to do your homework. You have to speak to people who have the information. You have to not think you know it all. It's easy to be like, I know, I got it. But research is highly crucial. It's the foundation of building.
Sure.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mpo, for that. It's crucial, right? And there's another question from our online platform, from Tobela, who says, the importance of multiple streams of income it goes without saying. So how do you navigate the challenge of corporate not wanting employees to moonlight or have side hustles?
Luckily for me, journalism, the only way to survive is to have multiple streams of income. I mean, I worked on radio and television, and I also worked on print. Okay. But I'd had to cut away the other two to be able to build this empire. What a tall order. And so just as long as you disclose that, by the way, I have a business that I run. And that's how you navigate it. You have to disclose it. You sign a form wherever you go, whether it's the SABC or Newsroom Africa, disclosing that, listen, I do more than what you pay me for. Because you could decide not to book me. Then what?
Sure.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Mpo. We all love money, and I think we all love multiple streams of income, and I hope that all of us have a GP for our money. So I've got a stunning comment here, and I think just to throw it back into the studio before we end the conversation, it says, today I'm learning the importance of discerning between what is valuable and what is not while growing a brand. It's crucial to let go of the things that no longer serve a purpose, much like we discard.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very powerful.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this afternoon. Can we love on her and give her a round of applause?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you.
I just want to categorically say that Mpowa Ropa, she's tall, and then the hair goes higher. What is left for us out here, these short ones? Can we love on her one more time? All right, we're getting into another conversation in just a little bit. Far from being a male-bashing exercise or a radical feminist movement, the hashtag She Owns Her Success campaign aims to surface and recognize the barriers that aim to limit women's success and to highlight the power of finding the right tools. Somebody say right tools. And advice to overcome them as we push on to make sure that our success is unstoppable. Now, many of these barriers are related to what is referred to as patriarchy, which, amongst many other things, perpetuates oppressive and limiting gender roles and the political and economic subordination of women. Let's be honest here today, it hurts both men and women, and both men and women can and must take it upon themselves to challenge it. I want you to say, together, we can change and accomplish more. Look at you preaching real good this afternoon. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about this afternoon. We have two amazing guests who are joining us. And without a waste of time, help me with a warm welcome to MomentumZA as well as Nelson as they join us this afternoon to have this conversation. Hello. How are you, sir? Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Driven by her passion for making a difference in people's lives, MomentumZA balances multiple roles as a mother, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and CEO of the Mampeole Foundation. Now, Nelson is a political and international relations expert and an international development specialist. He's currently the resident coordinator of the United Nations in South Africa. I feel like my English has to go a little bit higher in order to, he says no. Uncle Nelson, are you sure?
No, just
hey, I can relax.
Yeah.
Thank you so much both for joining us. Today we talk about how men and women can be true allies on the still unlevel professional playing field. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I want to just jump straight into it. Oftentimes when we speak big words like allyship or having allies, what exactly is an ally? How do I know that I've got an ally? How do I know that I'm at a place in my life when I need an ally? I'll bounce it to you, Nelson.
Actually, it's a great start to the conversation. And to break it down, to me, it's easy. It's about a man or partner that listens,
Sure.
supports, and doesn't stand in the way.
Sure.
And understanding that it is really about this collaboration to create something better
Sure.
for each other and for humanity. So for me, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, somebody who listens, who cares, and wants you to win, basically.
Yes,
in life.
definitely.
Maybe let's bring it to the occupational space. It just sounded so romantic there, the way you said it. I was like, do I have a listening, caring, you know what I mean? But we're talking within an occupational space this afternoon. How can men truly be allies, be advocates for gender equality in the ever-transforming world where that seems to be left behind?
Now, with the challenges we're confronted as in the world,
Sure.
before even looking within a corporation or a business setting, we need to ensure that everyone is working together to be able to ensure we're tackling climate change, food systems like we heard before, respond to the needs of society. Just energy transition, for example, is something that helps us to be able to keep the lights on, but also not harm the planet. To solve all of these existential challenges, you need men, women, and everyone else collaborating.
Sure.
And so that's why it is important to look at this not only from the perspective of the personal benefit it is for a man or a woman, but also for humanity.
Sure.
And so collaborating, the man supporting the woman supporting the man, benefits humanity. So that's the starting point. Then when you bring it into an institution or organization, research shows that when it's more equal, inclusive, diverse, the results are better.
Sure.
Decisions made in a boardroom or a power table, as I would call it, matter. having then, as a man, supporting women having a seat at the table,
Sure.
ensuring that decisions that the power table takes benefit humanity and women especially is important. In a boardroom context, for example, decisions about who are your suppliers, who gets employed, what sort of strategic direction a company has to take. At the United Nations, for example, looking at the Sustainable Development Goals, all 17 of them,
Yeah.
looking at, can we achieve this if women are not at the center of intervention?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
SDG 5, Sustainable Development 5, is about women empowerment and gender equality. SDG 10 is about ensuring we have equality within countries and in the world as well.
Yeah.
Because the realization is that inequalities are a manifestation of imbalance of power relations in a world that men have been dominating.
Yeah.
So how do you course correct that?
Sure.
How do you ensure that, like my boss, who's actually a formidable woman, says, you cannot fly a plane with one wing. You need both wings
Absolutely.
to be able to effectively take off and fly.
Sure.
And that's ensuring that we have this collaboration and balance
Yeah.
for humanity.
I really love that it's for humanity, because oftentimes when we speak about equality, the focus is on whoever we feel is the minority at that moment or the inferior, right? And this is like, no, this is for everyone. It's for the progress of humanity. I'm going to come to you a little bit. We're speaking almost on a very high level, international relations, which is higher, organizational structures. Then there's us every day living our lives. You're a mom, you're an entrepreneur, you're a philanthropist, you're a CEO of an MPO. Talk to me about how allyship has worked for you with all the roles that you play.
Okay. So for me, how I see an ally, that is somebody who recognizes their own privilege and wants to use their voice or their position to uplift others.
Sure.
Okay. So when I left corporate world after giving birth to my 2 kids, I was like, ooh, that corporate world's not going to work for me. I don't think I can wake up at certain times or somebody to define when and how I can do things.
Yeah.
Decided to be a stay-at-home mom. When I was now ready, I had my partner to say, lift me up.
Sure.
You've had the benefit of time and experience. Now I'm ready. And he has been my biggest ally because he recognized the privilege that he had and afforded me a voice and a position of being uplifted.
Maybe let me bounce it to you. Uncle Nelson, you can hear the ladies murmuring there, so I have to come back to
Yes.
you. Daddy, it's not me. You heard him, Abi?
Yeah.
Okay. Uncle Nelson, maybe let me ask it like this. Do we feel that the privileged know that they're privileged? Or is it because we're having global conversations, because there's been a lot of noise, or are they aware that they're privileged?
I think they are. I think I am aware of the privilege because it benefits us. And so the privileged do benefit from that privilege.
Yeah.
And advance toxic masculinity to prevent women and others from becoming empowered. So yes, you need to be aware of that and be open to learning or unlearning.
Yeah.
Because the microaggressions, the biases, the stereotyping is what holds us back.
Yeah.
So you start from that point of view, you learn, and then you become more inclusive. And the starting point is also listening and learning and then facilitating.
Sure.
Because if we don't do that, from the home into the schools, into the corporate world, then we're not going to be able to achieve that. Personally, I think I benefited by having a dad who ensured that he was not espousing toxic masculinity. He supported, encouraged my mother to be able to have a career and a profession, a successful one. He ensured that my sisters would also grow up in exactly the same way. I'm third in a family of 5, and I have 2 elder sisters. and amazingly successful women in the science, technology, and engineering space. And so he didn't look at me, his son, as the one who would be the civil engineer. He educated and supported my sister to be that engineer, that pharmacist, or that doctor. So it started from that.
Yeah.
And, but he realized that he was in a context and a cultural setting that was not enabling that. So he inculcated that in us. And so I would say I fully agree to the fact that we need to...
there is privilege. But I love that there are ways, and it doesn't have to wait for the occupational space. It can start within homes and settings, as you so beautifully displayed. When have you ever needed allies, whether it's in your business, it's your in MPO, in your workspace, and you failed to see them? And what impact did that have on your progress?
I see allies as sponsors. They will speak about you when you're not there because of what you do. They will put your products where they can be seen. So to answer your question is, who's your ally? Maybe if you don't know how to recognize if, McKinsey is my ally, she's willing to pull you in, even sometimes when you can't even see your own potential. But they're willing to say, I see some greatness in you. Come to my space, speak about who you are, speak about your brand. So the allies are really your sponsors. They speak about you even when you're not there for your upliftment.
Oftentimes, yeah, right? And maybe I'll stick with you. Oftentimes when we speak about allies, particularly in the conversation of gender equality, we're always looking to our brothers to say, please, remember us. But is it important for us to have a sisterhood and how that can impact our businesses, the running of our homes, how we function in society? Are there any girls who've stood by you that have helped you be where you are now?
So now imagine Nelson has spoken about me in a certain space. Now I am known. And I get into that space and then I sit in a corner like this. That is not right. I also need to be an ally to my sisters and say, come in. I know someone. I know this lady. So it's inclusivity. When you are there as a woman, call a sister like yourself, because we are the ones that know our own challenges, and I am able to say, hey, I've got this lady who does this, I've got that. So once you are lifted, your responsibility is to lift others with you.
Sure, standard, yeah.
Definitely.
Uncle Nelson, I'm not even looking at you. Can you see what I'm about to ask you? Do men recognize the women as allies?
Definitely. I do. And that's why I guess I was invited to be here.
Yes. Yes. We like Uncle Nelson.
Yes, they do. Because men who are successful in the modern world we are in recognize the fact that you need to work with women, promote women, to be able to have better returns for your company.
Sure.
Or better outcomes if it's development programs you're trying to implement. So, but then, even if you don't recognize us allies, you're now compelled to, because, again, it is no longer acceptable to project toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Men used to, and still do. I definitely have friends. We have clubs and networks where we support each other and talk about each other and accept that even when we fail or we're inadequate or incompetent, we still support each other to be able to succeed. And we need to do the same with women. And to your point, your question earlier, women also need to be doing more of that, clubbing together and supporting each other to ensure men don't get away with incompetency.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's a valid point, yeah. Absolutely. what are some of the concrete actions that we can take, be it in the corporate space, at home, but just some of the things that our ally brothers can start to implement in the spaces that they find themselves that will help in the quest of gender equality?
I would start by saying fostering an inclusive context, ensuring that the environment allows for women to be able to come in, sit at the table, be part of the decision-making process, supporting women in promoting their ideas, ensuring that decision-making around the boardroom and at the tables really reflect not only the interest of men, as it has been the case over time, but also now starting to reflect the interest of women. I mentioned earlier the importance of the decisions that are made in the boardroom space. Decisions around funding, strategic direction, partnerships, who to bring in to help with marketing, advertising, who to source if you are a manufacturing entity from. And so ensuring that there is then this process that allows for inclusive decision-making, and with women at the heart of it.
Yeah, sure. I love that. I'm going to come to you. It's our cry for gender equality. It's what we are advocating for. It's what we're fighting for. It's what we dream to see realizing in our time. Once we've received these allies, once we're in the spaces, apart from just bringing up our sisters along with us, what is our responsibility?
I think when you ask Nelson, do men know their privilege? If they do not know, it is your responsibility to let them know. They need to have that knowledge. You know, there are people that walk around not even seeing their own inadequacies, but once shared, they are aware. They can redesign their spaces, but those spaces need us. You know, you can't now sit and say, oh, this is how we are going to include women without a woman being there.
Yes.
You know, and once that allyship has been formed, it is your responsibility to make sure that it goes all the way down. You know, he mostly speaks about corporate spaces, but let me share something with you of how we can start way back to teach our sons. I'm a mom to boys. In my house, there's no ke mmego kwa banyana, ke mmego kwa bashimane. There's work. And if there's work to be done, we are all going to achieve it together. So it starts that far back to say, for the better good, we have to do it together. And it's okay if men want to be masculine and I want to bring the beauty into it. That's my strength. He can bring his. You push the couch, I put the cushions on it.
I love it. I love that I ain't trying to push no couch. But I want to be in the room.
Yep.
I'm probably offered the seat first.
Yes.
But I'm not pushing it. Uncle Nelson, I'm going to ask you to speak to a lot of the women that are watching in this room and some of them online in the different watch parties. What's your advice to them? For somebody who's working hard, is really working at their craft, and maybe feeling a little bit left out because they don't have the right allies. What do you have to say to them this afternoon?
I would say be more intentional about who you partner with. Seek for the right environment, company, choice of life partner.
Sure.
Because all of this matters. Seek partnerships that allow you to thrive.
Uncle, don't rush that one because we can hear. Repeat it, Uncle, repeat it.
I'm saying seek partnerships that recognize that you have to thrive.
Sure. Yeah.
Because that's important.
Yeah.
Seek partnerships that would not stand in the way for you to be able to achieve your aspirations. And once you have the opportunity, then ensure you put your best foot forward. Because we're also, again, in an unfortunate context where men, with their flaws and their inefficiencies, are allowed to thrive. And women have to do 200% to be supported as well. So, but I think it's also a point I want to make to the men, not only to the women, because it's speaking to the converted. They want to thrive, they know they have the ability to succeed, they own their success in most cases. But the men shouldn't stand in the way.
Yeah.
If you don't want to support, don't stand in the way. But you should do much more than standing in the way, because we have a collective responsibility to ensure that our sisters, our daughters, our wives, and our mothers are thriving.
Sure. Beautiful. I know that we've got some questions, and I want to just fill the room a little bit. Any questions? Oh, there's a hand that went right up. Oh, okay. Okay. You can stand up. The mic is going to make its way to you. Let's find out what you have to say. Yeah, the hands went up. You see, I told you guys. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Rorisang. My name is Lindy Nkufane.
Hi, Lindy.
Hi. I'm also tempted to call Nelson uncle because Soso Mutuna said so. But I wanted to ask, and I suppose my question goes to both of you, to say, how do we create an environment? Because personally, I feel like I work for a company that is really intentional about inclusivity, right? So women are being brought to the table, women are getting opportunities, but I also feel like, also listening to Ausimpo, we have a dynamic group of women that are doing things differently. So you don't just want to bring them to the table just for them to be on the table, and have your own expectations on how they need to behave and show up. I mean, listening to Ausimpo, she's got 5 kids, she's a wife, she's an entrepreneur. It means that maybe on Saturday, because the boys are able to be called on Saturday and deal with the deal, or maybe they leave late and come early. So for me is, let's not fix one problem while we create another. So how do we make sure that as we become more inclusive to women, we also understand the dynamic of being a woman? Because I also don't want to struggle and then tomorrow I can't bring other women because it almost felt like we can't deal with the pressure of being at that table. So how do we make sure that we fix both at the same time, so that tomorrow we don't come back and say, no, women want flexi hours, or, you know, I want time to be able to go to Thailand, you know? So yeah.
Lindy, where you want time to go to Thailand? Uncle Nelson, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I think work practices, the policies companies promote need to be adjusted to respond exactly to the question we had. And the more women you have around the decision-making table as well will help to expedite the adjustments that are needed.
Yeah.
Because these rules were conceived by men for men. So now is the time to also adjust that. And that's certainly one of the things that through promoting the Sustainable Development Goals from the UN perspective, we're trying to engage with employers to make sure that they're looking at talking to governments, to also looking at the whole concept of what is decent work. And how is that not seen as something that is not universally applicable and women can benefit from, because it is important. And I think, but then the other side to the coin is also men at home need to start sharing the workload and being available to do the weekend chores with the boys, for example. And so that's important.
Yeah, we're actually going to be getting into a very robust conversation about that. So I think more questions are going to come up along those lines. I had many hands. Let me see. I've got one there at the back, and we'll come to you here. Hello.
Thank you so much for the conversation. My name is Boipelo, and the question is to Uncle Nelson.
You know that's sticking, right? Make peace.
Firstly, I would like to thank you for being an ally. It means a lot. And my fellow in the room just asked around the workplace. So I won't speak to that much, except for the practicality of it. I want to see how it pans out. There are very sticky situations in the workplace. It's one thing to have the policies, but another thing to see it actually happen. And it comes back to the mindset. what can we do to change the mindset of men so that they can actually work with the decision makers and implement and become who they're supposed to be. And it comes back to the home as well, because we have very big percentage of better women because of the privilege that women that men have. What can we do to change the mindset of older men, in addition to what Elsie spoke about, to say we can teach the young boys so that when they grow up, they become better men. But what we do about the men who are old today?
Hey.
It's a tough one.
Exit left to all the old men. Hey, we love all men. Our uncles and dads and grandfathers. What do we do? Because I think it's almost like, it's a very bad analogy, but teaching an old dog new tricks, it's difficult. It's what they know, it's how life was. You can even hear in the tone, Rona nowadays. And you're like, but it's not your days anymore. So how do we go about that with respect and dignity and still, I guess, holding them to the respect that they deserve?
I mean, behavior change goes to the heart of course-correcting a lot of things that we are confronted with, culturally, societally as well. And in another context, talking to young people, I was saying intergenerational collaboration is important.
Yeah.
And so you have increasingly enlightened, I would say, men who need to also be having the conversation with older men about what is acceptable and what isn't, but also leading by example and showing what needs to be done. And I think that's really what needs to happen. Men need to have real conversations with men about how to be better men. And men need to also have real conversations with their sons about what it means to be a positive man. So the concept of positive masculinity is really important. Yeah. And so that's why one of the things we're really looking forward to doing as well in the South African context is to promote the Positive Masculinity Pledge, which the President has just announced on the Women's Day, and get other men to support that. Yeah. But not only sign on to it, but start having conversations in taverns and boardrooms and other spaces about what it means to support, empower, and not harass women.
I love that. And I love that you added on a little bit earlier on that even as from a mom perspective, as parents, it's not one parent's responsibility, it's both. So you as a mom and a father play a significant role. I had a hand that was, hi, Glavi, stand up, let's hear your question. Before we go online to hear what everybody's asking that side.
Okay, I didn't expect you to ask me to stand up.
Girl, you look cute. We're going to make you stand. Yes.
Thanks, Rory. And thanks to the speakers. I think your contributions have been so insightful. My question is to Malome. I mean, research puts gender equality about 100 years ahead of us in South Africa. And as a country, we have a constitution that is the envy of the world. We have the policies, we have the legislation. Why are we still here? But also, my second question is around all these interventions we're speaking about, around how do we bring men on board? I want to know, what is the vision of the men that we want? We've defined it for ourselves as women. I think because we're coming from a previously disadvantaged era, we are able to identify what the mishaps, what the barriers are, and therefore are able to say this is what we look up to, what we want to achieve. But what is it for a man? What is the vision of that man, and who shoulders that responsibility? Because for us, we know that corporate must do this, the church or religious sector must do this, business must do this, but who shoulders that responsibility? Who do we hold accountable for the kind of men that we want to have?
Whoa.
Again, so who do we hold responsible?
Sure. Just to take it back to one of the questions that was asked earlier. Now, when we, it's the saying of bring the sister up, I don't think is enough. We need to bring sisters that are going to be strategic in what we want to achieve, sisters that are bold to speak up for other sisters, who have the courage to stand up against the oppression of other women. So how also policies in companies and institutions, they need to be measurable. People need to be accountable. And measurable, not going to somebody and just say on the corner, it needs to be documented. We need to also say, how long are we going to give ourselves to change? You know, there's something that I read the other day. It said, progress can happen without change. And those who never want to change their mind will never change anything. So it is imperative that we are all part of the change. And institutions and companies, if there is a member there that is not part of the change you want to be, you need to let them go.
Sure. All right, I see another hand, but I'm going to bounce off to Tumi. I know online things are coming in. What are the people asking that side?
Sure, Rorisang, what incredible insights. And thank you to MomentumZA and Uncle Nelson as well. I've got a few questions here and comments, and you know, it just shows that if we work together, we can achieve a lot.
Yeah.
And I think one of the questions that I have here is that how can one identify a formidable alliance with within corporate rather? Should I look at a character trait, or should I look at someone's accomplishment? And how do I establish trust, as sometimes people tend to be untrustworthy? This is for Uncle Nelson.
Oh.
Sure.
Okay. I think from my perspective, I would say, particularly for the larger corporations, they're all expected to right now ascribe to principles of responsible investing. A lot of them and all of them should also have signed up or should be signing up to the United Nations Global Compact, the principles that look at women's empowerment, protecting human rights, advancing sustainability, anti-corruption, your labor practices and all of that. So take a step back to look at what are these companies doing. If they're listed on stock exchanges, exactly how is their reporting happening?
Sure.
Because I think that's where you get a sense whether the values the companies are promoting are really the ones we need in the modern world we are in today. And to the question as well about who's responsible, we're all responsible to ensuring that we have equality. It starts from home, it goes into the society and what government is doing, and even in the corporate sector, what the boards are doing as well. And the decision making that really needs to be target oriented, and affirmative action also needs to be put in place. Because I think all of that then helps to bring about the change we need to see.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Uncle Nelson. I've got another question here, which is also quite interesting. As you're having the conversation, people online are starting to ask, what is the difference between a mentor and an ally? If there is, how do you need both? And why do you need both?
Sure. I think they serve two different purposes, but both essential. Allies bring you into spaces of being uplifted. Mentors guide your way to achieving whatever you want to achieve. So can you have one without the other? It's possible. But why not have two forces behind you to, accelerate your success?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, MomentumZA. I think this just ties into everything we've been talking about, that together we can achieve more. I've got one final question, and it's from Paul, who says, how can one effectively shift the mindset of a man who holds traditional African family values?
Uncle, what is yours? Uncle, why are you smiling at me? Answer the question. Uncle is smiling at me. Answer it.
I mean, I would start by saying I hold traditional African values.
Yes, sir.
And I do not think our traditional African values are all harmful or negative. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's really about finding ways of engaging with the toxic part of the values that maybe work for a certain time and age and context that we now need to adjust.
Yeah.
And it's across the board on a number of things. From the United Nations point of view, for example, we spend a lot of time working on what we call behavior change or strategic influencing and partnerships, including with traditional leaders and community leaders that are custodians and can help change harmful practices. For example, on early marriage, on gender-based violence, on female genital mutilation, and in the South African context, even on the customary male initiation for young boys, and trying to use that process as one where they can learn how to be positive in life, in becoming responsible young men that feel they have a responsibility towards themselves, their society, their sisters, their mothers, and their force for good. So it's a journey, but it's one that I think we all need to play our part in. And mothers also have a very important role to play in that.
Sure.
I mean, just to add to that, I don't think as women we want men to be removed from their traditional role. We want to bring our role. We want this gender and this gender to know their strengths and bring them together.
And they're equal.
So if you listen to the statement of being yoked, you know, two bulls. I'm not a bull, by the way. I'm a very beautiful lady. But just for the concept.
Yeah.
If we are both coming in at the same strength and just facing one direction, we might just lose. But if I know you are stronger on the left and I'm stronger on the right, and I communicate that it is your left that I want to complement my right, there's never a conflict in it. I'm married to a very traditional man, Kenyezi Mulobedu. I'm sure we're all watching The Queen on Sundays. And I think mine understands that I also have a power to let it rain. And he that's why he embraces me. And when I am uplifted, I always need to let him know it is for your benefit, it is for the benefit of our family, it is for the benefit of society at large. And it is important that we communicate these things in our relationship so that when these men step into these organizations, they have our voices behind them to be able to implement these changes.
Thank you very much, Mackenzie. Thank you very much, Mackenzie. This has been incredibly insightful. I've got one final question, which I'm going to throw it to Mackenzie in the studio to say, why are women sometimes not good leaders, role models, and allies to other women?
Hot
seat.
I think it's important to realize that not all women are the same. And not every woman has the characteristic of being a leader. So that is why I said when we bring in women into these spaces, they still need to be qualified for what they are doing.
Yeah.
You know, they need to have a progressive mind. They need to be obsessed with innovation. You know, that is only how change can come about. And a woman, a woman who is a leader needs to be confident in their position. They will not be jealous of other women in bringing them up, you know? So, I mean, imagine a space where I can speak to people who can relate.
Sure.
To me. As opposed to constantly having to communicate, yes, it's important that I feed the baby before I come, but if I tell that baby, yay, hold that for me, I have to quickly. You know, it becomes easier. And sometimes men just don't know because we are afraid to communicate our needs. And that's why it's important that we have women who are not afraid to speak up for other women. It needs to be a strength that a leader has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mackenzie. I think, yeah, we just need to take a moment, and I'm going to take it to the studio so I can take a personal moment. So I need you to handle, in as much as we are helping each other, I need you to handle your side.
Did you just disconnect yourself as my ally? I just want us to be clear on this moment.
Working together is what we need. Absolutely.
Absolutely. How awesome were they? Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mackenzie, Uncle Nelson, thank you so much. They were absolutely incredible. Keep those comments and questions coming. We love hearing from you. And I love it when the questions pop up because we get to see what everybody else is thinking. Hopefully, it gives you confidence as well to ask those questions. Once more again, can we give them a round of applause?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Uncle. See, Uncle is old school, you see. All righty, how fun was that? Absolutely. All right. They say that the best poetry and some of the best innovations all began on a restaurant napkin. How many of you are guilty of that? So I'm going to ask everybody at home to find a paper serviette, a Post-it note, and if you really are struggling, even a toilet paper, you know, the square. Grab it as well. And what I need you to do is to scribble down on it, whether you're scribbling a few words or a diagram or a doodle of one or two things that you're going to choose to be intentional about designing in your future, particularly looking at the success journey in the next 3 months. And I also want you to consider how those ideas on that napkin can also open doors for others. Take a picture of it, of your creation, and upload it on the platform. And listen to this. Not only are you sharing your great ideas and the things you're working towards, you stand a chance of winning 2,000 Rand of a voucher for Switch Beauty. And who knows, it could be just you who's walking away with that prize. Do me?
Are you sure that they need to write it on a piece of toilet paper?
Anything.
It's Saturday. It's Saturday. Anything is possible. Saturday, 3 p.m., well, 4 p.m., anything is possible. But we are about to take a very short 10-minute break. And now, when we come back, there's more things to happen. So let's go stretch our legs. And when we come back, we'll be talking a bit more, about the things that we need to be talking about. So we can't wait to see what you come up with. So get doodling and win another one of our great prizes. We love prizes, everybody. After the break, we'll be welcoming an incredible singer-songwriter who's known for his unique blend of traditional and modern sounds, and who's got a string of hits and significant international acclaim. You do not want to miss somebody we've been talking about since Wednesday. It is Loyiso in the studio. And also coming up, we have what promises to be a robust conversation with Dr. Bakhe Dlamini and Samke Mhlongo on living single while married. And ways to share the load. See you when we come back.
See you later. It's me, say go. Okay. Like a Sunday miracle. A little. Give yourselves a round of applause. Hey, but it just sounds like it was the first part, congregation in here. Auna alto, auna nixie. One more time. Can we give it up for Loyiso? Come on. Absolutely beautiful. We love when our young artists are doing incredible things. Keep supporting by the music. Don't just sing higher, higher, higher. He must also go higher, higher as well. So we love to see it. Again, Loyiso, thank you so much for giving us incredible music. Are they singing there on the socials also? Higher.
They call me higher, higher.
I think we're all going to be singing it today, right?
Absolutely. It's such an electrifying energy online as well. I think I'm incredibly happy and proud to be in a room filled with these kind of conversations and these kind of insights. There's one comment that I love, and it's from someone who was giving an opinion, or giving a question rather, where you are. So it means wherever you are, ufudua pizza rorisang. The comment is, I'm loving this lady's insight about not just bringing women to the table for the sake of it.
Yeah.
You know, women are being brought to the table and doing things differently, and we need a fresh perspective, especially a woman's perspective. Hashtag she owns her success. There's still more. This one is quite long, from Baba Lomolahlehi, and she says, amazing panel so far, and here's what I've learned. Owning your success as a woman means taking full responsibility, full responsibility and pride in your achievements. It's about recognizing the hard work, dedication, and resilience that led you to accomplishments, right? So are you guys taking a full responsibility? Oh, I hope so. There's still more, and one of the things that came up a lot in in the comments on the online platform is the fact that when we have conversations like this during Women's Month, and we want men to be able to be allies, what are sort of the things that we can do? Like what Momentum is doing? Bring a man. Ra leboga Uncle Nelson.
Yeah.
And Spem Kize also says, being with the wrong partner can be a setback too. Women should definitely be intentional about their long-term partners, and I love this advice. Yeah. And Makwabe Joy Mkize says, please stay away from partners that make you feel small, that don't believe in you and your vision. And this is why it's important to be in sync with everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
So good.
Wow. There's
So
still more
good.
though. There's still
So
more.
good.
I think the online community is just, they really want to be in the room. But because Rorisang has the key, I don't
opened
know.
it. All welcome.
There's one from Shalene Botha who says, the thorn amongst roses, the impartation of, Sekhoa. Shalene. Wow, the impartation of knowledge doesn't need to come from a specific mold, as long as it changes the life that it applies said knowledge.
So good.
Ooh, Sekhoa. No, it's very encouraging to know that, women, bring Sekhoa to the table as well. Listen, there's another final comment which talks about the cycle that you keep. So I think for me, I'm quite safe. I've got Rory Sang.
Love you, babe.
So the cycle that you keep, or the circle rather that you keep, is so important. We always say this, but I don't think people consider the impact it can have on your career, business, and general success. Whew. Wow. Yeah, no, let me tell you. It's just, do I need a moment? That 10-minute was not enough. I think now it's a very good time for us to go into our fastest fingers competition. Who has fast fingers, everybody? None of them. Okay, maybe to my online community. Are you all paying attention? So remember, this is only for online platform and not Momentum Metropolitan employees as GC. And the hashtag is #dreams into plans. I have no time for you, so let's go.
Yep, it definitely is go time. Make sure you are clicking away and making sure you're grabbing that prize. Back to business now. Are we ready? No. This one you've got to be ready for. Are we ready? All right, you see the yes is high. We're about to get into an interesting conversation. Now, anyone who's been married or in a committed relationship for a lengthy time will most definitely attest to the fact that it's not all fair in love and war. It's often the case that we enter those relationships with predefined set of expectations based on traditional role play. And these expectations quickly become patterns of behavior that can build up to considerable frustration and friction over time. I was waiting for amen, Yana. Yeah. But on the chessboard of any intimate relationship, when it comes to sharing the load of responsibility, it does not have to be a stalemate. We're going to get into this conversation, bringing onto stage Samke Mhlongo, as well as Dr. Bake Dlamini. Can we give them a round of applause as they come through? Hey, hey. Some of the ladies are singing along to the songs. Yeah, Loiso got you in a singing mode. I love it. Now, Samke is an acclaimed international speaker, award-winning wealth coach, best-selling author, and a women's empowerment advocate. And she joins us this afternoon. Dr. Bake is also here, a community psychologist and a marriage and family therapist who's highly regarded for his groundbreaking work, and also an author of no fewer than 6 books. The overachiever, please clap for them. Thank you so much both for joining us. With no doubt, we're going to be getting into a very fascinating conversation on how to balance the scales and share the load in the domestic front. Doctor, let's speak about traditional roles. What's our understanding? We throw it around, but what to everybody in South Africa or your everyday person, when we speak of traditional roles, what are we actually referring to?
Thank you, Sang. Thank you, Samke. Thank you, everyone, for such a great event. Traditional roles, for the longest of time, throughout history, women have been burdened with roles or chores, if we may call them, which places them at a disadvantage. It might be coming back from work. You're a corporate woman, and we no longer like our mothers who used to stay at home. You're a corporate woman, you're in business, you're hustling, but you have to come back and cook, hey? You have to come back, wash dishes, take care of the babies. And at times you find that Mr., because of that patriarchal structure, is sitting in front of the TV. And at the end of the night, after dishing and everything, he's like, can we have some sex? And you're like, for why? So that's the stuff women go through, yeah.
Yeah, so when we speak of are we all in agreement, ladies? Samke, I'm going to come to you. With that in mind as the backdrop, do we feel that these domestic traditional roles have an impact on our financial growth, have an impact on our careers? What's at stake here if we continue in this manner?
Rory Sang, we don't need to feel because the data tells us what's at stake. Over the lifetime of a woman's earnings and career, she loses $530 million as opposed to a man in the same role with the same qualifications, simply because of the burden that she has of the household responsibilities and the barrier that that burden causes to her ability to grow in her career, to take more demanding jobs, to be seen to be putting in, the effort and the time in order to grow her career. So that's number one. Number two, she also suffers from more burnout. 35% of women suffer from burnout at work as a result of their household responsibilities as well, versus an estimated 20% of women. And finally, there's still a 20% gender gap between the earnings of a woman and a man with the same qualifications in the same role. So it's not that we feel there's a burden on women. It's not that we feel there needs to be change. The data tells us that there needs to be change.
You speak of burnout, and maybe, Doc, I'll come to you, is that how do we then handle it? Because the reality is most women find themselves in this position. A lot of them who are watching, a lot of them who are in this room today. And the truth is, what is burnout in my language? It doesn't exist, you know. Be strong. Hey, there's all sorts of things. I'm a feather.
I'm an egg.
I'm a feather. An egg still has a shell. I'm a feather.
I'm an egg.
But this is the reality of the situations we find ourselves in as women, and even the right to acknowledge that I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I maybe even be depressed, I'm feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
What do we do with all of these emotions in a society that doesn't regard us having the right to feel the way we do?
I think it's time for us to start the narrative, to talk about such. Thank you, Sami, for bringing in the statistics. It's time we be real as possible as a society, that it's impossible. We need to change the narratives that speak of the woman as an inferior species. She doesn't bleed a green blood. She bleeds the same blood I bleed as a man. There's a lot of underlying tones that says she's not human enough. She's a second-class citizen. We need to go back and be honest, and when we look at our African philosophy of Ubuntu, we need to be in touch with the reality. She comes from work. She carries a load. She comes at home. She's a human being. She carries a load. We need to be honest. It's impractical. It's impossible.
Yeah.
For example, we need to start and talk about conversations of it's impossible for a woman to cook 7 days a week. No human being can do that. It's impossible.
Doc.
You know, we need to be honest.
Clap for Doc, man.
Thank you. It's impossible.
Hey.
It's impossible. And we need to speak to our masculine side. We need to speak to men to make them understand. Because I know that they get scared when we have such conversations. They think feminism, they get scared to say that actually you removing certain burdens benefits you as a man. We need to speak to men according to their language, a language they understand. A language that doesn't say rebellion, Amajla, women's movement. A language that says, if you relieve her of the load, you get to benefit. A language that says if she's relieved of the load, she feels loved, she opens up. I normally say to people, don't focus on opening her legs, focus on opening her heart. When her heart is open, the legs will automatically open. So,
okay, Doc.
The solution,
yeah.
Men need to understand that all of us have got something to gain in the pie. When she goes to work and succeed, our empire as a family succeeds. So nobody should be intimidated. At times your wife could earn more than you. We all have something to gain in the pie.
Samke, I'm going to come to, I think, Doc, you just spoke so beautifully about the man sort of psyche.
Yeah.
That how do we speak? And I'm going to come to maybe giving us practical tips conversation in a little bit. But are we also the problem?
We tend to be the problem as well when we make unconscious mistakes. So there's a book that I need all you ladies to buy, which is Nice Girls Still Don't Get the Corner Office by Dr. Lois P. Frankel, and she speaks about some of the unconscious mistakes that we make. For instance, an unconscious mistake we made today, no jab at anyone, is referring to Nelson as Uncle Nelson. I could understand it because one of the ladies asking a question said Ausimpo, but what we do is that we go into the workplace and we think that a male figure in authority is our father figure or uncle figure.
Sure.
That's not your father, that's not your uncle, that is your colleague, that is your peer.
Yeah.
Right?
Uncle, I still love.
Similarly, in a relationship and in a marriage, it's a partnership. So you can't think of your husband, your spouse, your partner as your father. And that is a mistake that I made. It took me 20 years to accept that my father had passed.
Yeah.
And I made the mistake of looking for fathers in my relationships. Some of those fathers were my peers. Some of those fathers were really father age. But, you know... But what that does is that it creates an imbalance of power. And where there's an imbalance of power, there will be abuse. So we enter into these circumstances where, because power cannot be taken, it can only be given. We give away our power, and then we wonder why there's abuse.
Yeah.
Doc, you want to jump in there?
Come again, man.
I'm saying you want to jump in there. I'm just hearing what you're saying is that we help the system stay.
Women help the system stay. Actually, the woman's biggest enemy is not the men, is women themselves. It is women that trash other women. You know, it's women that say she's wearing the same blouse. It's women, we talk about the husband snatcher or something. It's another woman that snatches. It's women that don't believe in each other. We talk about politics. Women don't vote for each other. They always vote for men. Women oppress each other. We're talking about a mother-in-law, monster-in-law. It's a woman. The same woman went through affliction, oppression in a marriage. She's supposed to understand for the younger generation, but she fails to do that. It's women that spread these narratives like, amadoda wonke ayachita. So if I cheat, sisihlala. Whereas not all men cheat. If your man cheats, say my man cheats. We propagate these narratives, and at the end of the day, we wonder why they are still there.
Okay, this is taking a different turn. Ooh, we need to find a place where we land on how do we practically resolve, right? Be it what we perpetuate as women in this society, the things we say, the things we do that you so beautifully highlighted, which all of us know, and then how we communicate to the men what we need, because I think it's true what you're saying, that there is an abuse of power because maybe we are giving off that power and not communicating. I need to not cook 7 times a week. I need to take a break. You know, I need my space. I also need a girls' night. What are we not doing right in communicating? Are we maybe nagging?
The societal cancer that we have is that oftentimes she's ready for marriage, but oftentimes she's not ready for marriage. Everyone is speaking to the girl child and the woman. No one is speaking to the man and the boy child. You find that you are ready. Most women I see during therapy, shame they are ready. They are so genuine. Masters. But Umcholo says, I'm vitizaring. The other one is not ready. The other one has not been prepared. The only thing he was told, you're going into marriage, you're going to be a king. They will cook for you. They will wash for you. They will dish for you. We need to speak to the men. And I'm saying, women, you will not win the war alone. You will not win, I tell you, because I meet a lot of women that are trying to panel beat. Where's Zama? She's trying to panel beat this guy. She's trying to fix him. The challenge is you can't fix a grown-up man. You've got also testosterone issues, ego issues. We need to step in as a society. My sad part is that government is doing nothing to step in the game.
Sure.
We're not going into schools to speak to boy children. We need to start at grassroots level to speak to boy children, to speak about the narratives. What is a woman? What is a woman? We need to speak to them about that. A woman is not that thing you blow a whistle at when you see in the streets. That's like your sister. The woman is your mother. Our instinct should be to protect the woman. We need to propagate the message of decorum, chivalry in our society. Women cannot win alone. Let's emphasize psychological interventions. Let's emphasize therapy for men. You know, there's a woman, she wants to go for therapy. I see a lot of women dragging their husbands into consultation rooms, and I see a man sitting there. You see that this man has been forced. He has to want it. If he doesn't want it, you're gonna panel beat him forever. You're gonna try to fix him forever. We need to speak at grassroots level. Help them understand that they need help. Let's normalize therapy. Let's normalize going for seminars. Let's normalize such talks so that information is spread across in our communities. We've got low literacy when it comes to relationship issues.
Sure. How do we then better prepare ourselves? One of the questions that came from our audience a little bit earlier on touched on, I think it was a comment or whether it was a question, on choosing the right partners. Is that where we're dropping the ball? Because Doc is putting a position to say there is some type of men and then there's another type of men.
There is, but there's also trauma. And there's also coping mechanisms where we go into relationships as a coping mechanism because we don't know how to heal.
Yes.
And there's also, my philosophy is that you can't know who your suitor is if you don't know who you are. I, at the ripe age of 40 next year, can say this is the first time that I know who Samke Mhlongo is, what Samke Mhlongo wants, what Samke Mhlongo does not want, and where Samke Mhlongo is headed. My last relationship of 2.5 years with a wonderful, wonderful man ended because he said, Samke, I don't think I'm the right man for who you're going to be.
Sure.
He said, I'm going to hold you back because where you're going is further than where I believe I can go,
Yeah.
where I want to go, and so I want to set you free to be with the man that will be able to carry you
Yes.
and support you in terms of where you're going. We have a beautiful relationship. We still speak every day. It's sad that I had to go to America to find such a man.
We love
But, you know, through him, I have learned who I am and what it is that I need my partner to be. So now, my partner should also be able to say, Samke, this is what I need you to be. And if we're not aligned, then we need to be honest about the fact that we're not aligned, because love is not enough. Love is absolutely not enough.
Yeah. Doc, I'm going to bring it back to you in
Yeah.
terms of just better ways of us to communicate. A lot of us are here, some of us are online, we're watching, some of us are physically in the room, and we're hearing things, and we're cheering, and we're clapping, we're ululating. When we get home,
Yeah.
do you understand?
Yeah.
So far slash that
Practicality.
umntu wakho.
Yeah.
Angithi khethile.
Yeah.
But now you have to go and translate everything that we just had a
True,
conversation
true,
about.
true.
What's the best way for us to communicate this information? To say, I need a balance of roles.
Yes.
I need the load to be
Yes.
distributed a little bit better. How do we
Yes.
say that?
We will not win through the Amanshla women approach.
Okay.
If you're talking about men, you need to speak their language, understand how they process
What
things.
is this language?
Let me go into this language. All of us have got something to get in the pie. The language of men is a language of respect. The language of women is a language of affection. Respect is not oppression, because we cannot dare trash respect if we want affection not to be trashed. The mistake sometimes we do as girls, we trash respect. When a man says, I want respect, then we say, you are outdated, you are stone age. We process things in different way, but the good part is that we get what we want at the end of the day. He's looking for respect. He perceives himself as a leader in the home. You're looking for affection. So the best part to do this thing, the solution, let's give each other what we need. For example, I'm a man. I'm not looking for flowers. Come on now. I'm not looking for flowers. You're looking for flowers. You're looking for affection. You're looking for someone to open the door for you when you get into the car. My question to women today, what is it that we are giving men? I know that you're like, we've been giving men for decades, but once we fix this societal problem, we should not create another monster kind of a problem. So how do you deal with it when you get home? Speak to him in a respectful manner. Don't be like, I went to Momentum. You will not win. Sparks will fly.
Quickly.
Speak to him in a respectful manner to say, you know what? I understand that I'm a nurturer by nature. I want to cook for you. I want to take care of the babies, but I cannot do everything alone. You chipping in, coming in, wherever you can come in, it communicates love to me. And when I feel loved, actually, I'm encouraged to do other things, actually to meet you somewhere, even when it comes to the bedroom. But I cannot be carrying everything, cooking 7 days a week, and you expect me to do gymnastics in the bedroom. So communicate in a language that he understands, because if you come in a language that he will feel as attack, oftentimes he gets to a defensive mode. Also try other avenues like therapy. You speaking to him might not work. You know, I have men who come in for therapy, and as I speak to them that, no, you need to fix here and here, they say, now, Doc, I understand as you are speaking to me. She's been complaining about the same thing for years. I couldn't hear her. So sometimes you cannot win alone. Let's try other interventions. They want to learn. They want to learn. I had our men's conference recently with over 800 men that attended, because we've had a narrative that says men don't attend men's conference. You only have the one that's on social media, the imaginary one that happens in February. Come on now. I told my team, men don't even buy books, so let's not carry much stocks. I tell you, I saw men queuing to just get a signature because something had switched in them. They just need the right kind of environment, a right moment. They want to learn. But if they feel attacked, we will not win.
Sure. Samke, in your personal experience, oh yes, it does deserve a round of applause. Yeah. I want to come to your personal experience. You said such a powerful statement. It almost moved me. I was like, ooh, only at 40 can you confidently say, I know what I want, I know what I don't want. Yeah. What are some of the steps that young women who are watching today, and even older ones, not older, but more mature, who are in the room here with us today, what are some of those practical steps you took to land at this place where you can go, I'm okay, I know who I am?
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I went through, and then I'm going to give some tips as well.
Please.
What I went through, I was married at 21, divorced at 29, and basically I tell people that I lived my life backwards, in that the things that I was supposed to be doing in my 30s, I did in my 20s, and the things I was supposed to be doing in my 20s, I did in my 30s. So there's nothing or very little that I haven't done. When I was curious about, changing my career, being on radio or TV or writing a book, I did it. I did. When I was curious about dating white, I did. Dating young, I did. Dating rich, I did. Dating broke, I did. They're amazing at sex, by the way, the broke ones.
You guys are gonna get me fired here today. Also, my mom is here. Stop it, both of you. Mommy. Wait.
Dating locally, dating internationally. And the thing is, a part of getting to know what you want is also being clear on what you don't want. And too much of us rush into marriage, rush into having a certain timeline of, I'm going to get married, and I'm going to get this job, and then I'm going to get married, and then I'm going to get promotion, and then I'm going to have a child, and then I'm going to get another promotion, then I'm going to do my master's, and then I'm going to have child number 2. And you actually don't even take into account how having those children, being married, changes that trajectory. It's almost like you're running 2 trajectories that have different angles, that have different paces. And then you find that constant tension between your career and work, right? So I would say, first and foremost, take the time to explore.
Yeah.
Life is a buffet. Don't stop at the wings, ungakafiki kwi-lobster. Because then you're going to see your neighbor with the lobster, and then you start being mad at the wing next to you.
Yeah.
So take your time through the buffet of...
Hey, Safai seafood, guys. Any chicken lovers in the house?
Take your time, make your money, define your look. Just now, your man is going to be like, I like cornrows. And you're like, well, I like wigs. Define yourself. Let him find you, having a proper knowledge of who you are. It's the best, the most intimate, and the most important relationship on this planet is you with you.
Yeah.
So take time with you. I don't say I'm alone. I say I'm with myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that time with myself. And Samke spoils herself, honey. She treats herself very well. But she's also come to a point where she can account and hold herself accountable to say, Lala, you're the common denominator here. Yep. All these breakups, child. I'm in therapy twice a week. I'm on antidepressants. I've got God, church, psychiatrist, psychologist, my girlfriend, support. You understand? It takes a whole army, because I would set goals and I'd say, why am I not meeting these goals without blaming someone else? My manager, my boyfriend, my children, ex-husband, the government. No. No.
That's everybody.
So I basically went back to Samke and I said, what does Samke need? Right? What does this Samke need? This body I inhabit, this mind that I'm in control of, what do they need in order to serve the consciousness that is Samke?
Yeah.
In order to live out the purpose that Samke has been given. So it becomes easier for me to wear what the world could say are weaknesses. And I'm like, don't trigger me. I'm on medication. Talk to me nice. Otherwise, I'm going to tell my therapist.
Come correct.
Please. So the tips I would give, I like learning in acronyms. So I've used the acronym DESIGN, because the theme is all about living your life by design. And the D is discuss openly.
Yeah.
Too many of us women, especially, we use silent treatment to communicate our feelings. We use withholding sex to communicate our feelings. We use independent women know yourself as our WhatsApp status. Make sure you're not relying on a man instead of actually talking to, you understand?
Yeah.
We use all these other unhealthy channels instead of actually being able to sit down with your partner or with your manager, because we're talking work as well, and being able to say factually, this is what this and being solution oriented. This is how I propose we get through this because it doesn't work for me. My uncle always says, when you've got a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So sometimes when you found your voice, so chika wonko muntu manje. Nobody can tell you nothing because you've just found your voice. No, don't do that. Be strategic with your power, right? So discuss openly. Number 2, the E, embrace help. If your man wants you to cook 7 days a week, Lala, have auntie chop everything she needs to chop, defrost everything she needs to defrost, and put it under the cupboard, and then mouthfeel when you're just like, just hit the cutting board a little bit, so we are fryer, it's done, you understand? It's fine.
True.
Woolworth, if he wants dombolo, go buy your dough at Pick and Pay. You just pop it in the pot, honey, it's done.
It works.
Woolworths now sells pre-cooked umlekwa. 20 minutes later, you've got hard-boiled chicken. When you hear the garage door opening, you're there like you've been in the kitchen the whole, you know what I'm saying? Be strategic with the help you get, okay?
Yeah.
And then number 3 is shift your mindset. Shift your mindset around what success looks like, around what work looks like. Our parents used to say, as if, you know, a sore back is a reward. I'm trying to have a sore back.
Yes.
My medical aid will run out.
Yeah.
So, no. You know, how do I get the same outcome in a way that serves me?
Yeah.
You understand? So shift your mindset around what it looks like for me to be a good partner.
Yeah.
What does it look like? Don't base it on your own bias. Be the partner your partner needs you to be for them.
Yeah.
So love people in their love language, not yours.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And
It's
then
a tough one, yeah.
the I, initiate policy change. And by policy change, we spoke about policy in the workplace, but policy or principles in the home as well. If something's not working, don't just suffer in silence. Initiate the conversation good and early before you've built up resentment. Because by the time it comes out, it's been bubbling over. It comes out in a way where, you know, you're not even in control of your
That
emotions.
respect is no longer
and
there.
men don't take well to emotion. They like facts. On this day, I didn't appreciate, and don't wait 3 years. You know what, babes, last week when this happened, don't be like, on the 23rd of April in 2021, you really hurt my feelings. Don't do that, right?
Yeah.
G, guide the next generation. Right? As much as we can talk to the younger generation, I take a different stance to yours in that our children emulate what they see.
True.
Monkey see, monkey do.
True.
You can have school interventions all you want, fair and fine, but if the children or the boy child doesn't go home and see that in action, monkey see, monkey do, he will perpetuate what his father did, not what society is saying. So yes, we need good role models, but we'll also need to make sure that at a household level, we're also initiating that change. And then finally, N, normalize self-care. Normalize sleeping in on a Saturday if that's your self-care.
Hallelujah.
Normalize going to do your nails. Normalize saying between 6 and 7 or the first 30 minutes when I get home is me time. Nobody speak to me, because once you've normalized it, it's not a how. So nzinzi pomanje. Who are you dating at work? No, babe. This is normal. Like the.
Alrighty, I can't wait to hear what questions you guys are going to have for our 2 guests. I'm going to start online. Doobie, what's happening there?
What a wonderful chat happening right there on the fireside chat. Who?
It's fired, eh?
This is normal.
This is normal.
This is quite normal.
Do me,
you know?
do me. Wait, watch me first quickly. It's so demure.
It's so demure.
So demure.
So cutesy, so considerate.
So considerate.
We've got questions, and I just want to hop into the first one. How do we start such conversations, especially at school life orientation? Still a channel, or should there be a different subject, or is there a need for a new LO curriculum? I think this is based on the fact that we should so they're asking based on that to both our speakers. Doc?
We need to upgrade our curriculum. some of the things we study is outdated. We study grasshoppers. What are you going to do with a grasshopper after school? We need to talk, we need to talk about, for example, from primary school, we need to talk about chores to say to the boy child, it's okay to be involved in such chores. It shows your humanity. You're not a robot, you're a human being. Be involved. Let's break certain barriers in our society. So we need to update our curriculum.
All right.
Thank you very much, Dr. Baka. I think to also Samke to just take the question as well.
Oh, I don't want to tread on that path because I don't fully understand the challenges that exist in the educational space. I mean, we're all always kind of not satisfied around that, and we also don't know what kind of interventions we need and if those interventions will be effective. If I were to contribute, I would say perhaps Department of Education needs to work together with Department of Social Services to say, if we are to combat GBV, then it needs to start here at the preventative stage as opposed to at the, when you are trying to solve a problem, right? Responsive stage. So that I would then say to the policymakers that research needs to be done in order to understand what kind of interventions are needed, which ones are effective, what the cost is, which experts are needed, and then how do we execute in a way that is impactful? Because we all can sit here talking about what should be done, what can't be done, but practically what does that look like? Practically where does that start? And I'm a big fan of starting with the data.
Alrighty.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Samke, for that. And we've got another one from Samantha Tobejan who says, how do you navigate the emotional and practical challenges of feeling single while being married? And what strategies can help bridge the gap between individual needs and marital needs?
Samke.
Okay, I like that. So again, feeling. What is that feeling? Like, let's break it down into its core, either actions or consequences or behaviors, right?
Yeah.
I feel single. Do you feel neglected? Because then when we put a word to it, I feel neglected, then we know, okay, what does that neglect look like? I'd like my husband to spend more time with me on the weekends, but he's always out at a shisanyama with his boys. Okay, do you want to maybe go out with your friends over the weekends instead of staying at home moping? Or do you want to go out with his boys? But then you can't be judgmental when one of his boys is bringing a different girl, because now you're going to be like, wasn't we with Moiponi last week? Then the friends are going to be like, why are you... So you need to first of all say, okay, narrow down the feeling to the actual action or event. Let's be solution oriented. I want to go on a date night every week with my partner because I'm feeling single. Then you can take steps to initiate and ensure that, okay, we start going on date nights. And one thing I've learned about men, they don't like anything of, let's go on date nights. No, just let him come home looking cute one day. And he's like, where are you going? It's like, and then you're like, I just wanted to go to the movies. With who? By myself, looking cute. You'll be like, no, I'm coming with you. You win. Imagine, want to be like, at the Momentum conference, they said that when you're feeling neglected, you must go. No, like, use your feminine power, seduce. Women have forgotten the power of seduction. And you get so much more out of a man when you make him think it's his idea. So learn the power of seduction, honey.
Thank you very much, Samke, for that. We've got a lot of questions coming in and a lot of engagement. Do keep them coming in. And I've got another one that says, what about men you talk to respectfully, but everything because you being strong and firm seems like you as a woman are always attacking. How do you share a load with that kind of a man?
Like in a voice a powerful naturally.
What tlhaloganya? Yes, I think that's essentially what it means.
If you've tried to communicate and it seems like he doesn't hear, let's try other interventions. Let's try therapy. He might hear there. You've been saying the same thing. When you talk, he says you're nagging. Then we need to take responsibility at the end of the day and not play victim. Some people say, I'm loud by nature. There's nothing being loud by nature. In the boardroom, you know how to calm down. It's called tone. It's called tone.
Yeah.
Dog.
So.
No, it's true.
It's called tone. We know how to speak respectfully. There's a time where you could speak to someone and they feel attacked. And there's a time where you could speak to someone, they understand you, that you're coming from a vulnerable place. You say, this is how I feel like. I care about our marriage. I just want us to do better, but I feel neglected. I'm tired, I'm exhausted. We go to the same job. I'm not saying, let's go 50-50. Ladies, because there's somewhere we cannot go 50-50. For example, when the thieves break into the house, he cannot say, last year I took care of them.
I mean, we're out here.
So the tone, when the tone says, speak according to his language. Yes, I want to be a queen. That's your language, ne? I still want you to be a king. Because he doesn't want to feel like you're saying to him, be a queen. You're still going to have your throne. You're still going to be a king in this house. But remember me, I'm not a servant, I'm not a slave. I just want to be a queen. So the tone is important. If you've spoken to him, it's not working, let's try other interventions.
Sure.
And I'll add to that communication, they say communication is not just what you say, but how the other person receives it. So you're actually not communicating if the other person is not understanding or getting your message.
Yeah.
So you need to then learn, am I changing tone? Am I even changing the time? I find the best time to speak to a man is right after, on the pillow. You know, like, baby, I really miss you when you're not here on weekends.
True.
Instead of, you're going out with Tabo again. Didn't we speak about...
It's the hand gestures for me.
You understand? Timing.
Yeah.
Timing. You understand that? So, like, ladies, we need to learn manipulation.
True.
We need to learn manipulation. Like, we're all like, yeah, equality.
Yay.
No, I'm like, yes, equality, daddy.
Hey! Do me, next question, next!
Wow.
You got
it. Listen, the last question I may have from the online platform is from Zanele Mahlangu, who says to both speakers, what steps can we take to build a balance between the career aspirations and balancing with the partnership? I think when they said family, they mean in terms of the partnership.
We're not here to say, let's stop marriages. I don't want us to walk out here. Some people said, Momentum said we should quit. Quit Mtase. Success in life is not linear or one-sided. It's succeeding in all spheres. Succeed in your marriage, succeed in your career. So let's go hustle, let's go work. Let's succeed in all spheres. And I'm going to go back to the masculine narrative also. We need to speak to men and make them understand that success is not just making money only. Success is also succeeding at home. You are not successful if you are always out with the boys and your kids are yearning for attention. I meet a lot of women that are married, but they are single mothers. Success is you being present at home, making time to come and play with the kids. I spoke to a man just today. He said to me, Mina, I don't do diapers. Success is still you coming and being a human being and touching a diaper and being human enough. So let's succeed in all spheres. Success is about striking a balance. Succeed at work, succeed at home. Success in one sphere is not success because it's holistic.
Yeah. I've got something to add.
Yeah.
I would say get a coach, get an executive coach, because they will be able to use frameworks and they'll be able to use tried and tested methods for you to be able to get that optimal balance. So, you know, sometimes balances, I'm spending 90% of my time at work and 10% at home because I'm working on a project or because I've agreed with my husband that we're going to give this 3 years for me to push, and then either he's going to push or whatever the case, or maybe I'm the one that's more skilled to do that. So, number one, balance is unique. It's unique to you and your partner, and you guys want to agree on that. And then number 2, get professional help, whether it be therapy, whether it be a coach. I love executive coaching because it also allows me to get more bang for buck in the effort I'm putting in at work. There's no point in being naive enough to think that if I spend 10 hours in the office, but I'm not delivering on the output, I'm not networking effectively, I'm not negotiating my benefits effectively, that I'm going to then be able to be successful. So you want to make sure that everywhere you're spending your time, you're getting your ROT, return on time. Every time I'm spending, you'd rather spend an hour of quality time with your husband than 4 hours just farting around and no one is actually contributing to the relationship. So it's about being intentional and ensuring you get the help to help you direct that intentionality for the maximum effectiveness.
Absolutely love that, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Dr. Bake and Samke in studio. I think let's show them what balance is, Rory. Maybe take questions from the studio.
Yes. Do we have any questions on the floor? It was like we were waiting for our moment. They forgot us. There you go.
I have a lot to ask, but I'll narrow it down. Heavy. Okay. So first question is, there is a dynamic now, right? Yes, men used to be traditional, but we also have a progressive men dynamic, where even the progressive ones have things that they decide, Yabole, I'm not coming to the party on. And society keeps saying to us, but at least he's trying. So, at least he's doing this, at least he's coming to the party. So how do we navigate that? Like, to what extent? I mean, in my view, it's very problematic, but also there hasn't been anything. I have nothing to fall back on. And I agree, maybe we need to go into therapy with my partner, because tons and tons of times I'm told, but he's doing the night shift, he helps, but I'm still dissatisfied because in my view, he should be doing more. It should be more balanced, and it's just not. So that's one. And then 2, last question, I promise. Have there been situations where a woman has left the marriage or relationship simply because of that imbalance? It's not simply, actually, it's deeper than that, right? Yeah. So I'm very curious to know if women have considered or even taken the decision to leave simply because I can't take it anymore.
Yeah. Doc? Beautiful questions, Mama.
The number 1 cause of divorces is communication issues. It's not even infidelity. There could be infidelity, but as long as we can hedge something down, get a conflict resolution, we can be able to stay afloat. Communicate. If you still feel like you're overburdened, communicate. I feel I'm overburdened. What can we do? Then you've spoken about people that check out because of feeling drained, exhausted. A lot of women exit marriages because of feeling drained on a daily basis. They're dying silently. They feel like single parents. They are so unhappy. And you find that Mr. is happy. He goes and is with the boys. He comes back. His food is made. Everything in his career is popping. But you find that you neglect yourself. Women, many a times, they neglect themselves. Don't neglect yourself. I see you are a mother, I see you are a wife, but don't neglect yourself. Let's talk about pampering yourself. Go for a spa treatment. You're not a baby-making machine. You're a human being at the end of the day. Take care of yourself, speak, raise your concerns, be heard in the marriage.
Yeah. We had another hand. Let me take one more. Hey, I don't know. I've got to... wait a minute. There she is, yes. Is it one?
Thank you. This is a question towards the doc and Samke. What is your stance on a couple of women have started to this movement, the 4B movement, or decentering men? Is it sustainable? I'm also guilty of being part of the 4B movement, where I think women have almost given up on getting into romantic relationships because obviously men are not coming to the party. So what is your stance on women that have taken this, movement to completely decenter men because they find happiness in obviously their girlfriends? You don't really have to be in a romantic relationship because of what men have been doing to us.
Hey.
What's the 4B movement? I've never heard of that.
Educate us. The
4B movement, I believe it started in South Korea. It's like 4Bs. They don't want to give birth, be in a relationship, get married. I forgot the other B, but basically it's like 4Bs in Korean. Where
I've heard you.
Yes. All right.
I've heard you.
Thank you.
Go for it, Sam.
Okay, I'll start. My question would be, what is driving that decision? Because if I always believe in being pulled by love as opposed to pushed by fear or hatred. So if you're being pushed to adopt this philosophy because you've been hurt enough times, or you understand, like you've been in relationships that don't serve you many times, do you actually hate relationships, or do you hate the way these relationships ended up? So everything can be healed. I mean, I've traversed the continent looking for relationships. I did not give up hope. When Africa wasn't serving me, I went to the US. So I will never give up on relationships. I love relationships. And then when I saw that, hey, there's a common denominator here, because there were common symptoms in the different relationships, then I worked on the common denominator, me. So instead of saying I'm shunning relationships, I shunned the behavior I was exhibiting that led to my relationships not being the relationships I so desired.
Doc, you want to jump in there?
It is not sustainable. It is not sustainable. We need each other as society. Yes, this society is not a society without men. It is not a society without women. Number two, it won't work. The family institution is kind of like the fabric of our society. Yeah. We need men, we need women, we need children for continuity. It will not work. Let me just talk a little bit about the men are trash movement. Nothing wrong with that. Yes, men are trash. I do agree that we've done wrong as men throughout. But you see, women, that's what I said, sometimes the woman's biggest enemy is the woman. We go out, men are trash, Amangela. We go to bed with trash. I'm saying that looking at approaches that just are about shunning. Let's look at approaches that are about fixing the problem. Because in as much as we're saying men are trash, we're saying our sons, our children are trash. Let's speak about narratives, because these narratives that we're speaking about are also prophetic. We're speaking that what is it going to do? What is it going to do at the end of the day? Nothing wrong with the movement. I appreciate the movement, and I'm for the movement. I'm saying let's get solutions. Women need men. We cannot live as women through vibrators alone. You need someone that's going to give you warmth. You're looking for a relationship. Men cannot live alone. Men need women. We need each other at the end of the day.
And that's where we're going to close it. Can I just categorically say that I want to come back for season 7? These two are going to get me fired. Can we give it up for Dr. Make and Samke? Thank you so much. Come on, we can do better than that. Hey! Hey! Do you know they claps once? Yeah, it's just a... That's all I have to say about that. Can we just love on them one more time? Absolutely beautiful. And if this is your first time ever coming through to hashtag She Owns a Success, this is what we do. We have real conversations where we unpack what's really happening in our lives, whether internally or externally, as we build towards our success. Hasn't this afternoon been exactly that? Come on, let's give it up for all our speakers this afternoon. And just like that, we've come to an end of another hugely engaging and empowering season of hashtag She Owns Her Success. Now, my success by design, what an inspiring and at the same time quite challenging theme. I'm going to speak a little bit about some of the things that I took as a highlight from Wednesday all the way through to today. Wednesday saw itself as just an opportunity to look within. I remember Sis Nontogozo came out, she stood on this podium and she said, I dare me. And I think it got me thinking about just some of the things that I've used as a fear barrier not to achieve the things that I'm meant to. I have potential for it, I have skill for it, but for some reason I've allowed, certain things to be a barrier. And for me, Susie unlocked a lot of things. How many of you were here for Susie? was good, right? But just our idea of success and what that looks like. And today was absolutely mind-blowing. From dealing with very difficult conversations, often the ones that most people run away from. So I want to congratulate you in the room for sticking it through. And my only hope is that these life-changing conversations will really do transform our lives. I don't want us to sit in here and go, oh, it was such a nice conversation, and go back into our lives. I think we were given enough tools and gems here for us to start making the right decisions to move forward in our success. Are we in agreement? Yes. Are we aligned? Yes. Are we allies? Yes. I absolutely love that. Hey, I'm missing somebody, man. Where's the somebody that I'm missing? My ally. Where are you, my ally? Naturally. 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 Da 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 da. Da da da. Oh, ally, give it up for my ally.
You see, Rory, when you're not here, you come in like a movie star. Good afternoon, everybody. Everybody looking absolutely stunning. Clap hands for yourself. Wow.
What an incredible afternoon we've had. Any moments that you're taking out?
Listen, I think for me, if I summarize both days, I've learned two things. I have the power to open the doors that I want to open.
Sure.
And I have the power to close them. And I think it's quite important. I hope that when you leave here, you leave knowing that you have the power to open the door and close it when you need to and if you want to. But I come with gifts.
You come bearing gifts? I get
It's a movie star thing.
Continue.
You know? The credits are gonna roll now.
Okay.
And the credits are competition. So the person who participated the most, where I was, in my little house.
Techno-ness.
Engagement today. The winner of She Owns Her Success hamper is Nolubaba Lonyati.
Well done.
Woo, Nolubaba Lo. It's not one person. The person who correctly typed in dreams into plans, the hashtag dreams into plans, the fastest, and the winner of a copy of She Owns Her Success tote bag. It can't be a copy. And She Owns Her Success t-shirt and My Success by Design pin is Dineo Sikhala.
Well done, Dineo.
And yeah, let me decide on
where do you want to
own.
go? This is definitely your
Who am I
movie.
giving it to? Okay. You remember you said people must write on papers? And I told you it's a Saturday. Somebody spilled water on their paper. I'm just kidding.
Let's see. I want
just
to
hope
see how
that-
this turned out.
I can't wait to see who actually doodled on a paper. Listen.
Let's see. Okay. Fortune says, be intentional about my mental wellness. Okay, I'm gonna give you a bit. So Fortune says, be intentional about my mental wellness and be intentional about starting over. That is our winner.
Okay. I think it's very important that we learn to know what you did. I resigned from government yesterday after feeling stagnant and unhappy. This came after losing my mother in March, and ever since I was left empty and wondering what is my purpose, since my pillar and my cheerleader is no more. I need to redefine my own success.
We love you, Fortune. And thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And we really do hope that those conversations that we've been having unlocked greatness for you. We can't wait to hear the good stories.
Listen, I'm not done.
You're not done?
No.
Oh, Mother Christmas.
I can't bearing gifts. I mean, I can't look like this
Hey,
and not
Mother
come with
Christmas,
anything
keep my
cute,
hand.
you know. I need to look cute and bring cuteness to it.
Yes.
And last but definitely not least, our Momentum Metropolitan employees. We have our winners. We do have our winners, but you have to wait a little longer if you've won today's prizes, right? And a Momentum Maker will be in touch with you very soon.
Well done to all our winners this afternoon. But I have a feeling we're all winners in the room, right? I think we're all
Absolutely.
leaving with something that we're holding on to. I'm going to put on the spot. Please, somebody clap for my mother. She's here with me. Hi, sweetie. I'm a winner because I convinced my mom to come to work with me.
You won.
I've won.
You won.
I've won.
And you're winning the people's hearts as well.
You understand? We're all winners.
Sharing the load.
This is sharing the load. Clap for us. Jimmy, you've been absolutely amazing. And I think everybody can agree you're just a spark to the family, and continue to do great work. Beto, multi-talented, multi-creative. We want to see you going on and doing amazing things as we cheer you on. We've come to the end.
That is so sad.
It's actually sad, ne? But you know why it's not sad?
Let me go back and let's start again.
No, let me tell you why we're not going to do that. Oh. Because season 7 is coming. Yes.
Wow, what an incredible time. What an incredible time meeting and working with an absolute great team and seeing beautiful faces.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't get to see this all the time. But from me to me, Powerhouse, success by my own design, hashtag. You know, I hope to see you in season 7 of hashtag She Owns Her Success.
Absolutely.
It's been a wonderful time. But from us, we love you, and it is goodbye.
Before we say goodbye, I want to talk to all the online people. Do remember that you can catch all of our workshops, even previous years.
Yeah.
Make sure you're heading over to Momentum's YouTube channel, as well as the Momentum Research Center, and get as much as you can. Promise you, all seasons are amazing. Start with season 6 and then work your way back. It's been amazing. We love you. Good night.
I thought you were saying that we're starting the show.
No, season 7. Good night, good night, good night, good night. Bye.